This is an amazing Civ matchup because I feel as though you can clearly get a grasp on how it plays out. Mongols have a hunt bonus in Dark Age and a scouting bonus in Dark Age, so they want to steal as many resources as possible, prevent you from taking your resources, and then use those resources to go feudal age fast and rush you down. Whereas for Vikings, they don't have any Dark Age bonuses, but when you're in feudal age and castle age, they feel like one of the strongest civs because they have wheelbarrow and then handcart for free. So Vinchester running forward much like he did in the semi, just to steal some goats, and he's actually gone home here, Nilly. So he didn't do anything too crazy. No attempt to steal a rhino at Viper's base.
Yeah, they traded off some HP there, and Winchester tried to go for his rhino quite early. Shot it once, but the rhino didn't follow. Winchester 2 on wood, and we think Viper, not unlikely that he will play some defensive men-at-arms or some archers. But the big question is, what is Winchester going to play?
Yeah, I feel like if it was 2017, we would not even ask that question. I feel like we would just be seeing scouts here from the Mongols. Viper's got to be careful with his scout. Yep, he notices it. But we've been seeing a lot more men-at-arms with Mongols this year, Nilly. Players realizing that the men-at-arm meta is just so strong and that you can just go 20-pop men-at-arms, which most civs can't compete with. And it might not be a bad play up against the Vikings because you're normally not expecting something different from the Vikings. So if you can get 2 men-at-arms faster than them, get to the archer faster than them, you're kind of beating them where they can hurt you the most.
Mm-hmm. Winchester also a person that loves to play like archer range, instant blacksmith, and with the extra resources you can afford fletching so much earlier. Maybe a way to force Viper into some problems as well. And this is what we're always saying, right? The 2 ways to beat the Viper. First of all, put lots and lots of aggression towards him, and the weakness in game number 1.
True. Yeah, it's very true. Viper can be a little slow to start at times. You know, first game of the day type of a situation. He always talks about that, as does everyone, I think. But I'm sure that they would have been paying attention to the 3rd place match, and I'm sure they would have probably had a game or two. Like, even if they just got in against the AI just to get warmed up.
I'm not sure. Viper is a guy that gets some fatigue. So I think in a best of 9, he's not really the warm-up kind of guy.
Okay. Yeah, I guess Vinchester maybe.
Something?
Yeah, that's another thing we have to bring up is maybe that Vinchester, if he can drag this out, should get better as the series goes on against Viper. But what's so weird about me, sorry, there's a lot that's weird about me. What's so weird about that topic of Viper and fatigue is I think that you have a higher chance of beating Viper if there's less games in a series. But I also understand that there is that fatigue question. But it doesn't add up. If Viper really struggles with fatigue, I feel like the longer a set goes, the better it should be for people against him. So.
Yeah. Well, the longer set stuff is more like the math behind it, and the fatigue thing would be like looking at the individual game. But well, obviously we are starting relatively early for a Viper set. Most of the time he gets the prime time, gets the really late ones. But this time, starting 5 p.m. his time.
Yep.
Well, a bit earlier than he's normally used to, but could be a long day. Best of 9s can easily last 4 or 5 hours.
Did you see where these goats came from behind the woodline? Because I think that's going to be good for Viper here. I don't think those were his. I believe that was Vinchester's. I'm not sure. It's very late.
I think those were Winchesters. Yeah. He came from the very left-hand side. It was left to the stone, I believe, from Winchester. And Winchester had to steal 2 of the Vipers earlier. So
yeah, I see the map now, yeah. All right, so Viper opening up here. Looks like range defense, Nilly. And it looks like range offense from Vinchester. Nilly, I want to hit you with a stat, okay?
Nice.
We didn't see a single scout opening in the semifinals. Not a single scout opening. And we didn't see a single game won with knights.
Okay.
And here again, we have Vikings, Mongols. We're not even going to see any even thought of going scouts. So something tells me that players have figured out that maybe men-at-arm archer or just archer is the way to go, despite how open these maps can be.
But also, yesterday, for example, Viper banned Franks. Today, Winchester banned Franks. So that obviously takes away the civilization that arguably is the best with scouts.
That's true.
Wait. Didn't we have... Oh, no, we didn't. Yeah, it was archers into then scouts in game number 3 by Viper against Jordan, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, just it kind of makes me a little sad, to be honest. Like, you want to see knights having a little bit more success. You don't want to see crossbow every game. But we'll see what happens. I'm sure that with so many civs in a best of 9, we'll probably have something like Magyars out there and maybe see that scout rush. So this is where Vikings start to feel stronger. Dark Age wasn't too hot. He didn't bring in his food any faster. Vinchester did, but Wheelbarrow now affects all those villagers, and Viper sees the spearman, sees the archer, kind of knows what's coming. Honestly, good position for Viper to be in because he hasn't taken any damage, and he can just sit back with those eco upgrades. Vinchester's not going for a strategy that really hits you real fast here, nearly. It's a big, or a slow build-up, rather.
Well, this is the early fletching that I considered as an option, right? Fletching finishing at 11:15, but only one archer out here, while the Viper is going for skirmisher defense to open this one up. I don't see Winchester finding a lot of damage.
Yeah, and Viper just delays his blacksmith a little bit more. So he gets his blacksmith, he clicks fletching. Viper also going for horse collar. You've been seeing this a lot with these archer openings, man. I think, again, 2 years ago, you see archer opening, you're skipping a lot of horse collar, but if it's just straight archers, players have been going for the horse collar upgrade. And they know there's going to be adding a lot of farms. They don't want those farms to expire, and it seems like an approach that Viper definitely took against Jordan.
Especially if both players are going for the archer range, you know, okay, it's unlikely that I will take a lot of damage, I wanted to say, but the scout is coming in.
Wow, that was really good from Finch. He just swooped in out of nowhere and surprised Viper. I think Viper will be fine, but Viper won't be happy to see that he lost a ranged unit there. Also, there's an archer attacking a house on the right side for Vinch. He does have more numbers right now. It's just, can he get them into the proper position?
It's not that easy, right? Scout intercepting a bit as well from the Viper. Only 20 HP there, and it feels like the Viper is holding, and, well, 2 economy upgrades ahead. Viper looks reasonably solid.
Yep. Also, a little bit of revenge for Viper. He'll try and kill this archer. With the hill bonus, he will kill the archer. Wow, Viper, great job from him there. And so this is kind of the spot you want to be at if you are the Vikings. Sitting behind some walls with some archers, with some eco upgrades. And now Mongols are not looking too exciting. As Viper uses the scout again, he will lose the scout, but he maybe can kill that archer.
Yeah, trying to chase the other archers down, and Viper, he weathered the storm quite nicely of Mongols. And now, honestly, Mongols, they feel like a really generic civilization, while Vikings, they even get their second power spike, reaching castle age and freehand cut.
Good news for Vinch is he still has solid army numbers. If he can maintain that and then mix in something else, it could be good for him. But Viper's micro here is so good. He forces these archers back and will probably get at least 1 kill here, you think. There's a couple weak ones in there. He gets 1, he gets 2. And now Vinch is falling back to go scouts nearly, but scouts aren't that devastating when Viper has archers in the mix. If it was just skirms from Viper, then Viper will be vulnerable. So I think Viper will be able to deal with that.
I was surprised.
Berries now.
I was surprised that he actually took that fight. Like, low archers, tried to make some magic happen, but Viper was just shooting it down. Now gets control of that hill here, and, well, Viper already close to 400 food here. Quite impressive behind this. More archer, more skirm, double archery range play. And he is the one in the aggression at 60 minutes. That's something that shouldn't really happen if you're Mongols.
The good news for Vinch is that I think there's a world here where Viper doesn't expect the scouts. Because if you look at how Vinch is playing this, he's just sitting on his hill and he seems rather patient with the situation. So Viper does have some weak units in there, and maybe if Vinch pops out with these scouts soon, he could at least kill this force. I think the bad news for Vinch is the fact that Viper's double range, his eco's perfect. He's almost full walled at this point. So even if he kills a little bit of army, he's not going to do any damage to Viper's eco, and Viper will still probably be in castle age faster.
Feels like it. Floating quite a lot of gold here now, and Vinch, look at that. 2 scouts, 3 more in the queue. He needs to do damage with that, but as you said, not going to be too easy because Viper's base is already Looking quite nice.
Also, Vinchester's like, oh, I see an army. I need to pounce. I need to kill this, which is great. And he's going to probably kill this. But now Viper's army is looping around behind, and Vinchester has to have an idea that this army's over here because he doesn't see the same amount of numbers. And so Vinchester reacts to this. He actually is able to kill an archer with his vills, but he will lose one villager to this and probably more nearly as Viper will look towards Castle Age.
Let's see if he can maybe save his villagers. It was only 4 archers. The villagers are being pulled. 1 scout is being sent in. Viper is on the way to Castle Age, floating quite a lot of wood.
I'm a little surprised Viper didn't do more damage there, Nilly. He kind of hesitated on the hill as he was losing his other army. But I guess what he did against Jordan yesterday was he just played defense, and now he's playing at home, and he's got scouts and archers in Vinchester. This is not a bad fight for him. Viper loses most of his army before Castle Age.
That's such a weird placement. He knew about the scouts. Oh man, that is really, really untypical. And that's something we've seen in so many game number 1. Against Jordan, it looked relatively similar with all the big fights. And, well, remember the set against Caswell, where Viper lost lots of control as well. But this time, the map still feels really solid, and I think he will be able to defend.
Still has the army in the back of Vinchester's base. Also picked off a villager on the right wood line. Vinchester now having used the market and finally clicks up. And Viper quick walls his Vill there. A villager you would expect to still die because there's range units from Vinchester. But Viper is Viper. And he's going to now quick wall and run away. No way he saves this Vill. No way he saves this Vill. If life is fair, he will not save this villager.
What? Life is not fair, Tristan.
It's not. Like, everyone else out there, that's a message to you. Don't even try. Okay? Just watch. Don't even try. How did he save that Vill?
I have no idea.
I think what's even crazier is the audacity to believe that he could save the Vill.
Yeah.
Right? I wouldn't have even tried. I would have deleted one of the quick walls. I would have sent my Vill towards the TC and then microed my army.
I would have accidentally deleted the house, meanwhile.
Honestly, I probably would have accidentally deleted the villager when I went to click the palisade. That's what happened for me. Oh. Holy cow. And now Viper hasn't taken any damage. Just a little bit of vital time. He's adding his TC now. He's getting crossbow. He's getting bodkin. And he's going to push forward to Vinch's base. And Vinch is pretty vulnerable to crossbow right now. I mean, on the front, he doesn't have too many resources, but there are palisade walls, and those will go down very, very quickly.
Let's see about that one. 30-second timing window here. Goes for more skirmishers. Double range skirm. It's kind of what he has to count for now. And Viper even going for all 6 eco upgrades before minute mark 23.
Yeah, so this is Vikings. And Viper's even extending that further. I think he realizes, having killed just 2 villagers, how big a lead he's going to have in this matchup. And this is why when you're thinking Mongols, you're thinking men-at-arms or some crazy scout rush, something more than just one range. Vinchester did so well against Leary with a variety of different strategies. But maybe needs to be more aggressive to be able to kill Viper today, at least in this game. It hasn't worked out so far. Viper picks a Vill, playing some farms. He now sees the opponent's going to go skirm. I'm sure Viper's feeling great about this position right now, as he will be 3 TCs at home.
Yeah, pretty nice economy behind this one for sure. Goes for the Zebra now as well. Siege Workshop being dropped already has. Ballistics on the way. Everything fully in his control.
Yep. And he's fixing his eco too, Nilly. Like, right there after ballistics, he's like, I don't need this much gold anymore. Let's just get more food. Let's get more wood. Now, these skirms can be killed by crossbows if the crossbows get decent enough number and these skirms do not have the final armor. That's typically what you want to shoot for, is that final armor upgrade. But Vinch has 6 on food, Nelly. So he has 6 on food. He doesn't have wheelbarrow. He doesn't have any of his farm or wood upgrades in Castle Age. This guy's economy is at the limit right now, and Viper's just going to have siege with 3 TCs at home. It's going to be so tough for Vinch to do damage here.
It feels like Vinch needs to 1 TC all in it here. The economy will be completely out of control. He already sold 100 stone. And now soon has the resources to go for a second TC. Mangonel shot. Actually a Scorpion.
Yep, Scorpion's here. Viper maybe didn't have the gold for the Mangonel, or maybe he felt like Scorpion would be enough since these skirms don't have final armor, and he can also use the crossbows. And honestly, I'm really liking the Scorpion choice because they don't have the final armor, and Viper with a bit of dodging there didn't lose too much. Scorpions have to run away. Nilly, I'm with you. I think the only unit that could work to kill Viper right now is probably the Mangonel. He does have Siege at home. His Vinch drops a very awkward TC. I think he's going to have to use Siege to kill Viper because Skirms won't do it. And Knights or anything else in his arsenal really will not work.
Yeah. He's sending his Mangonel over, but might just run into Viper's Mangonel here. No. Viper sends his Mangonel a bit further back. He knows, okay, my economy just has to be so much better than yours.
Yeah, I mean, you get a strong feel for this, having played thousands and thousands of games. I'm sure Vinchester feels it as well right now. When you're up against Vikings, you just know you feel dead right now, and you feel the need to do damage all the time. And there's an overchop for Viper, but it might actually end up working out for him. He doesn't lose a Vil, as I say that he does, of course, but he'll kill the archers, and he knows that the only thing he really has to fear would be the siege.
Now the Skirms all dying at the side. Mangonel, nice ground attack, down to 19 HP here. Viper might even consider committing against that Mangonel, and without a villager in sight, that should be a kill.
Yep, easy clear up from Viper, well calculated. Now he'll just stand on his hill. He'll bring the rest of his crossbows over here. It's now 73 villagers with eco upgrades in, over 50 villagers. And Winchester just does not. As the scout goes down to the Mangonel, what in the world? Winchester just doesn't have an answer to this, Nilly.
Oh man, so many crossbow around, and what's Winchester's game plan here? He's so behind. He needs some massive misplays by the Viper, but Viper is just splitting up his army as well, so even if he misplays at one front, the other two armies should still find damage.
The thing is, one Mangonel against crossbows is not even all that strong, right? Viper's going to have, he loses one, but he's going to have backup here, and he knows he has ballistics, so probably a bit of side patrolling for Viper to dodge some shots. And then the siege is going to patrol in behind this. Also hitting the wood line at the same time, Nilly, so he's doing some eco damage. Eco damage he doesn't really even have to do right now. I think Viper doesn't have to do anything else. He could drop a forward. He could drop a defensive castle. He could maybe place the castle with one villager in the corner. I mean, it doesn't really seem to matter. This has been all Viper here game one.
Yeah, soon double the population here, below 30 minutes, and now takes Crucial Hill in front of Winchester's base. Mangonel then should be better for the Viper as well, wins that one as well. Oi, oi, oi. Winchester running out of options and out of hope in game number one.
Yep, and it's the best of 9, right? So Winchester couldn't have come in here today thinking that he was going to sweep the Viper. That would be way too confident. And he also probably knew that it was not going to be easy when he saw the Civ matchup, and he didn't do damage on early feudal. So Winchester maybe getting warmed up, getting a feel for the series. This has been over for a bit, but Viper's going to show us that it is indeed over. And it's just so dominant from Viper, so clean, that if you're a Viper fan, you've got to think, this is peak Viper. This is the Viper that I knew, you know, ever since I started watching Age of Empires, man. And this is just, it's also the power of the Vikings. But it was so perfect, really.
Yeah, it was simply clean, and that was a big problem, right? We mentioned earlier, Mongols, they need to make something happen. They want to get something done before the 15-minute mark. But Viper, honestly, also with a quite good map, right? Double woodline, the gold easily walled off, and then positions his skirmisher and archer at the perfect spot.
Okay, so I'm going to say two things. First off, it's very easy to look at this and say, Winchester should have done something different because he lost. But realistically, if you don't damage Vikings badly in the first 10 minutes, Vikings are normally going to do this, and Viper is normally going to do this. So what I'm thinking is, why not try and steal an elephant or a rhino? Winchester consistently in the semifinal would only try and steal some goats and leave it at that. Would it not make sense of Mongols to try and lame Viper to death in Dark Age?
He found 2 sheep. Maybe he was happy with that. Then he went back. Also had some hiccups with his own elephant there at the start. I'm a big fan to try to make it 3v1 elephants, yeah, if you're Mongols.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't even know where they were, but Winchester didn't try, and we didn't talk about it for that reason. But not the Civ matchup Winchester would have wanted in the mid-game, not the damage he would have wanted to do against the Viper, and Viper with a very quick and convincing victory. I think that game could have easily been 22 minutes, 23 minutes. Winchester playing it on just a bit longer, like I said, to get a feel. So
This is nice for the Viper. As we said multiple times, like he even stays in game number 1 for longer than he normally needs to, simply to get a feeling, to get his fingers warm, and getting his fingers warm and getting the win in game number 1 sounds pretty nice.
yeah, also, I think Vikings probably should be rated a bit higher than this, but that was one of Viper's later picks. Vikings was very late on the draft from both players. It could have been picked earlier by Vinch. Viper was probably happy to see it there. Viper gets his victory. We'll have a lot of games and a lot of civs. Actually, they picked it at the exact same part of the draft. That's funny. Mongols is on the other side. Same pick. I don't know if that's a different wave, the draft, though. I'd have to do the math on that.
It is pick 2.5. 4.5.
Yeah, I know you're really passionate about pointing this out to people, which is why I said something.
It can't be the same wave, right? Because you don't have the same waves.
Yeah, exactly. So, viewers, if you don't know what Nilly and I are talking about, just look at the top of the draft, and it shows the order of when the bans come in and when the picks come in. And since Winchester gets the first, let me make sure I'm actually right on this. Yeah. He gets the final ban and the first pick, and then Viper gets 2 picks. The order in which they go back and forth is a little different, but a little unimportant now. Game 2 has started. You didn't see any of the big guns come out like Aztecs or Chinese, Lithuanians or Britons in game 1. And we're going to have Indians versus Burgundians in game 2. Viper with Burgundians, Vinchester with Indians. And Nilly, yesterday when Viper played against Jordan, he made Jordan look completely clueless on how to play the Burgundians. Jordan tried to go for the eco upgrades early. He tried to play defensive. He tried to macro. And Viper took map control and stomped him. And then Dave and I were talking about it, and Dave basically said that he feels like Burgundians and Sicilians are just 2 perfect civs for Viper. Like, he always figures out how to play these civs. So I'm really curious about this one because I could see Indians being a tough civ for the Burgundians in the middle of the map.
Jordan only picked Burgundians to not allow the Viper to play Burgundians. That's what he said in the post interview, and I don't understand why he simply didn't ban them then. Because he can't play them. Like, he that's what he said in the interview. He doesn't know how to play them. He simply didn't want to play against them. That's the perfect civ to ban.
And yeah, bans exist for that reason.
Yeah.
That's so weird. Okay, interesting. Well, if you think of what Burgundians are known for, they're known for good economy, and they're typically known for going knights into cavalier in the mid game. Indians have camels, and then if Burgundians go for one of their other options, which might be the halbs, or pikemen, let's say, if we're talking Castle Age against camels. We've seen Indians have a lot of success with going skirmishers, crossbows, and cav archers. Indians have been one of the most dominant civilizations in King of the Desert throughout the whole event. So, not a bad spot for Winchester to be in civ-wise.
Yeah. I think also, like, Indian camels against Burgundians, not sure if it's that easy.
Yeah, I feel like even though Indians have strong camels, in 1v1s, the second you go into those camels, there's so many good counters to that, you know? And camels can't kill villagers. So you're not really doing any strong offensive play. Might be the first game, though, where we have a scout opening, Nilly. Remember, we didn't see a scout opening at all yesterday. Didn't see it game number 1, Vikings-Mongols. Here's game number 2, Winchester with Indians, Viper Burgundians. And with Burgundians, you want a very closed-off map. Hard to find with King of the Desert, and not really what Viper gets here. He's got a few of his woodlines with ponds in it. Very forward berries, very forward gold.
Yeah. Let's see how greedy he's going to be. We have known him to be one of the greediest players and still somehow make some defense happen. He can reasonably wall the bottom, though. I can see walls with the stone, I can see walls in front of the berries, and then mainly defend the area with the gold, although he still has a gold in the back, so Viper maybe more developing his economy to the left-hand side could be an option for him.
Yep. I kind of like that idea. We'll see. Viper hasn't decided on where he wants to place his lumber camp yet, so he's just sitting on the straggler for a bit, but it looks like he's decided. This is probably one of the best places for it. And what type of approach should you have with Indians here, Nilly? You know Burgundians can research their eco upgrades 1H earlier. so you know you need to apply pressure. In the previous game, he went for range opening to apply pressure. Do you think that there's maybe a different strategy Winchester should think of?
I'm really clueless. I'd rather play with Burgundians than against Burgundians. It feels like lots of people try to do something really aggressive in Castle Age, try to skip Fuel Age and go for some pressure, like Huang style. I certainly know like the booming, even though that's strong with Indians, always feels wrong. And we see him with 4 on wood, so it's not going to be the scout opening.
Viper changing his build order, by the way. He's got 8 underneath his TC on food. It can be a little tough to be able to keep Vil production going and get the wood upgrade early on if you keep 6 on food. So Viper adapting. He'll have less on wood right now than Vinchester, but he will also be chopping wood a little bit faster. Yeah, my outlook on it, Nilly, I'm actually the opposite type of player. I would prefer to be playing with Indians because I always get punished when I try and play greedy, like Viper's going to try and do with Burgundians. But the way Jordan played Burgundians was he tried to wall, which is a natural move. You want to wall up with Burgundians because you want to protect your eco. But I think that on this type of an open map, you can't full wall. Full wall is just suicide. I think it's too expensive. It's too much villager time walling. And then also, there's very good chances they can break in anyways. At the same time, I think you have to respect something like small walls. Viper might maybe do small walls around his wood lines and then take this into a feudal age battle. So I still like man-at-arm archer. I think with Indians, you save a lot of food behind that. And unfortunately, and it's maybe a conversation for a different time, but I just really think that the pro players have shown us that the wall nerfs have actually made man-at-arms stronger, right? If you can't get your full walls down, scout rushes just feel so weak. And the only thing to punish the small walls then, which is what people have to do, is man-at-arm archer. And so I think regardless of the civ, we're going to see that a lot. There goes Vinch with 2 militia right now in Dark Age.
Feels like Winchester could also play Drush FC. Because Burgundians, they aren't getting any aggression out. Viper, we know that he's trying to play greedy. Feels very likely he's already walled. And just do 2 militia. And then you can still squeeze out a reasonable like 17-minute castle age timing. And get a crossbow aggression there. And Viper, he will struggle to punish that.
When we talk about Viper's scouting, that barracks started going up a second ago. Viper spotted it. So he knows that the militia are going to be coming over. He now has time to prepare his walls. He actually didn't do the best of jobs because that one villager... Yeah, there we go. That one villager needs to be walled in. Drush FC seems so risky, but I can see your argument that typically Burgundians sit back. Maybe you just want to race to Castle Age here. I think he'll probably go 2 militia to take some map control, as Vinchester's done so frequently in this tourney, and then go up to feudal age.
Okay, let's see how the Viper is trying to approach this one. Still no farm upgrade, but obviously didn't put down any farms, so doesn't need it yet. Might even wait for both, heavy plow before placing down the first farms. Pushed him 1 zebra now, and yeah, Winchester is not going to play Drush into fast castle. He's playing Drush, and we'll follow it up with some feudal age army.
Is there a world where Viper doesn't even add a barracks and he just goes for...
There's a world where he waltz in the militia.
No way. No way, Viper. This is now 2 moments in 2 games where Viper has shown his class with freaking quick walls, man. And now he doesn't need to worry about these things. I mean, he does have to respect them a little bit because the palisade walls will go down. Imagine being Vinchester right now. You make it to the finals. You're like, I can do this because I was the underdog against Hera, Yo, and Leary. And now he's beginning to think maybe I can't do this. Oh, God.
Viper special. And Winchester even adding another militia. He tries to fight them free.
He's going to try and free up his boys. I mean, he can get man-at-arms. It's not like Viper's going to fight that just yet. Viper did add the barracks, and the crucial moment here, as Viper's faster to feudal, he's actually going to be able to get hits in on Vinchester's scout, and Viper's just going to go for a range. I really like the range opening because he sees the 3rd militia, and he also has the other militia trapped. If he wanted to fight with melee units like scouts, he would, of course, have to delete the walls.
The Viper clicked heavy plow, then cancelled and clicked bowsaw. I think he will delay it even longer. And we'll try to finish those 2 sheep and only then
Mm-hmm.
Go for it. But he has very little wood. He only has those 5 villagers on the main wood line.
Yep. That's it. Yep. And then maybe some straggler trees to take, but you're definitely right that for Viper, I think getting the wood upgrade makes more sense. Very weak scouts for both. We will have a range. Oh, we have a stable for Vinchester. What? I don't like that move, really. I don't think he has the food income to... no, I like it if he can produce a few more scouts, actually. He's got 2 in queue, and he's got 3 vills in queue, so this could actually be fine.
Interesting. Most of the time, people advise against that, because one of the defense against the Drush is small walls, and one of the defense against scouts are also small walls. So most of the time, scouts shouldn't really get too much done. But apparently, Winchester feels like, okay, maybe enough map control will be guaranteed by going scouts.
Oh, Viper again scouts it. Look, he saw the stable, so now Viper has time to make spearmen. That's the risk. The risk is they just need to make 2 spearmen, and then your whole scout play is very weak. Whereas if you were to go for a range opening, you can compete with their ranged units, and Viper spearmen are useless. So Viper's got both Castle Age Eco upgrades in. He hasn't had the best of time with wood efficiency, I have to say. Maybe if he could get 2 or 3 more villagers on that lumber camp, I'd feel better about that. And he's just going to brace himself for this attack. This is an attack that Vinchester thinks is going to be a surprise to Viper. He thinks that Viper's only going to be on Archer Skirm. I don't think he's expecting there to be 3 spearmen. Soon to be 4 spearmen for Viper.
Crazy, right? Yeah, that should not really be a thing. Like how... It's like Winchester trying to outsmart. Winchester trying to be tricky. Worked out so well against Leary. But Viper knows what's up and how much he needs to scout against Vinch.
And this is where it gets tricky, right? Because the whole semifinal with Viper Jordan, Dave and I were talking about how Jordan was playing the same way as the Viper and how he needs to play different. And now we have Vinchester trying to do something different. And you and I are sitting here saying, this is why different doesn't work. This is why this build order doesn't work. Now, let's see. Maybe Vinchester can get a Vill pick here. Viper has the spears, but they're out of position. Good job, Vinchester. He will kill that villager, though Viper was close to getting his famous quick walls down. And so it pays off already, I'd say, Nilly, this little scout rush.
Well, you're not really gaining too much. If you get a second villager, now we're starting to talk. Viper's trying to wall the one at the top, but I think she will go down most likely as well, or will she?
Yeah,
Wow.
2 spearmen there. Good patience from Viper. And he's got to build a lumber camp with his forward wood line or pull the villagers back to farms or something. There you go. He's getting wheelbarrow now. Viper a little late gold here, though, Nilly. He might not be able to have the gold at the proper time. Actually, no, I take that back. That should be fine.
5 eco upgrades against 2 here. Viper could even consider going for gold mining.
Yeah, it's cheap, right? It is discounted, so gold mining upgrade not the most expensive. Viper will add the blacksmith, and he's kind of done what you said, Nilly. He's walled to the left using the stone. He's taking the back gold. So Viper realized pretty quick that this is a map that he can work with. As we see fletching now for Vinchester. Vinchester's going to have some archers, and he's going to have quite a few scouts. Now, this I like. He has bloodlines in queue as well. I like this from Vinch. Do not allow Viper to just sit back. In a lot of other games, players would transition towards Castle Age, but not in this one. This is good.
3 archers only, though. I think the Viper should be able to defend this. Also, just adds more and more walls. Knows that his economy will fine. And Viper, yeah, he often goes really greedy, but realizes, okay, fletching is a must here. And it's likely that he will take the hill. I don't see Winchester doing too much.
Well, the thing is, Bloodlines is in, but there's 4 spearmen for Viper. So if Vinch can take out the spearmen, Vinch could maybe win the game right here. Can he take out all the spearmen? And the archers are going to focus down the skirms are going to focus down the archers there. And Vinchester just committed to the engagement, and that's a really good engagement for him, Nilly. There's now 0 spearmen for the Viper, and Viper will have to quick wall all of his resources.
But why should he not be able to do exactly that? Gold looks a bit funky, though. That will be ugly to wall, but Viper, yeah, without any archers around, he's not that scared of all those scouts.
There's a hole. This could be so problematic, but you're right. No ranged units. Viper really needs to wall off the front so ranged units won't get in here. I still think, and of course, Burgundians have been working off the eco upgrades and all that, but I still think that Vinchester is in a good position. He's got plenty of food behind this. He can still go Castle Age. You could argue he can even make it faster than the Viper. And this is an awkward position for Viper's Woodline right now. Won't be awkward anymore. But maybe a sign of things to come for Vinchester if he clicks up to Castle Age first.
It just felt like Winchester, like 3 more archers. And this could have been indeed the win for Winchester there. He could have pressured all the wood lines, could have been so annoying, but simply didn't have the resources for that. And that's how the Viper, with his crazy good quick walls, somehow made the defense happen.
Yeah, this game is all about timings, right? And I think if maybe if Vinch had the archers earlier, then Vinch wouldn't have the food to go Castle Age faster because he would have gone archer range over farms at that time. But I think going double range is a really good idea. And what's exciting about having researched Bloodlines is that if he wants to go Cav Archers, Bloodlines does affect your Cav Archers and give them more HP. So Winchester didn't overinvest into upgrades for scouts that he's not going to use. He probably won't be going for camels here. I would love to see 3 ranges for Vinchester. But if he's going to do that, Nilly, he does not need 20 farms. I think he is over-farmed if he's going to be going for archer units. He's going to have so much food floating.
Yeah, especially if we wanted to go for cav archers. We often see villagers being pulled away from farms. Not really the case right now. Winchester still some control. Maybe he goes for a crossbow light cav composition. Is that a thing?
Well, I was going to say I prefer cav archer after crossbow, but now I see him getting armor. Maybe it is a thing. Indian light cav are pretty good against archers, but it's not like Viper has only archers. Viper's got a pretty AI army comp at the moment. He's got spears, skirms, archers.
Yeah.
So many resources in the bank, but no stable for Viper. So I don't know if he's going to be going for those famous Castle Age Cavalier.
Still only 1 archer range, right? He's not really committing in any direction. 2nd gold upgrade by him now.
What?
I'm not sure if that's really worth it or if it's just showing off. Yeah, he cancels it.
Okay, I was wondering if it completed or if it was canceled. There's a stable for Viper. I feel like the stable's really late, right? We haven't been super critical of Viper here, but if you're going to do anything with that stable, you need to have that stable up before Castle Age. Whether it's the Cavalier research or whether it is the, the production of knights.
Yeah, agree. Would have loved to see it 30 seconds earlier. Viper for now focuses on his crossbow upgrades. Drops it down a TC. Not unlikely that he goes 3 TCs and then maybe later switch onto like 4 stables.
Much better game from Vinchester, though. Vinchester is the only one who's really applied pressure in this game, as expected. And look at this. Viper, I need to play defense mode again. He can use his crossbows to focus down everything that's here, but if Winchester breaks in and Winchester comes in with light cav or maybe some camels, could be a different story for the Viper, but it seems like Winchester realizes he can't quite break in yet. He does have camels on the way, and he is making cav archers.
The Viper does a genius move and is adding a scout, and he will try to figure out how many TCs is Winchester going for. Is he trying to play fast imp? What's happening here? But he also heavily needs to care about the attack through the center.
Yeah. Looks like he's going to go Scorpion, crossbow. He also has some spears around. But imagine if Winchester were to somehow win a fight in between these TCs and take that hill in the back. Viper would lose the game there. Good TC from Viper. Protect those vills, and he sends vills to stone, so he might see Coustier in the future as he's going to think for a castle. But see if Viper can defend this. There's that scout on the move, Nilly, so he does see the TC. And Viper says, okay, I'll go 3 TCs now, as he's going to add a TC to the north, also on stone. But the Scorpion goes down. Still, there's another Scorpion for Viper, and it just feels like Winchester doesn't have quite enough to really go for a strong, convincing push.
Oh, and Scorpion might even survive. No, it goes down, but crossbow's still around. Spearman enough there for the defense, and Viper has to be happy with this defense.
Here's the thing, though. Burgundians do not get Arbalest. Burgundians typically are about eco, and then they're stable units. So there still needs to be some future unit comp for the Viper, but I'm thinking it might be the Coustier, Nilly. He's got 2 TCs sending villagers to stone right now.
No, Viper pretty aggressive in that regard for sure. Obviously, the defensive castle expected to be next to the barracks, next to his main goal there, potentially on the hill, and Viper will be safe against the CA raids as well.
The timing on that. Like, it's got to be so frustrating if you're Vinch. Every time he goes to do something against Viper, the timing's been right for Viper. But I think what you need is a bit of patience, right? You can't expect to get those kills every time against him, but you have to continue to ask questions of Viper, and maybe he will break. Like on the wood line here to the west, you can see the crossbows get some value there, possibly. See if Viper reacts to this. Viper does react to this, and having handcart his villagers are speedy. And he doesn't lose a single vill. But I like it from Vinch.
Yeah, so do I. Now, next question being asked at the top. Let's see if Viper continues with his answer, which is always villager kill. Nope.
Yeah, I saw this matchup before. It was Slam against Veleza. So I think that's a pretty high-level matchup that we could maybe make comparisons from. And Indian Cav Archer and Hussar was the way to go there. And the Burgundian player sat back, much like Viper is right now. But they weren't really able to take any control in the game. And that's the problem with Viper's approach, is he doesn't have any control. And it's just, he's stuck in a corner right now, Nilly. I'd like to see Winchester maybe think of getting relics soon. But right now, I'm loving the army movement from him.
Oh yeah, indeed. Viper still needs 100 more stone. Crossbow's trying to defend the front. Army is moving in at the left-hand side now. Viper a bit late with the reaction. I think he needs another TC at the bottom.
Yeah, it seems like it. Winchester oftentimes won't want to dive into the back of someone's base because he knows he'll lose his army. But if he were to make it back there, there's so many villagers for Viper. He chooses not to. Probably would have lost those CA. He's going to loop them around. And Vinchester imping right now, Nilly. Viper is nowhere close. Viper has 10 on food. He's got the farms, but he's just been relocating villagers so much that the balance isn't there.
How can he afford that? Like, I was expecting this was full castle edge aggression. Like, upgraded CA? That's normally pretty expensive, Tristan.
He also got armor. He also produced scouts at some point. I'm telling you, man, Indians, forget about their units. It's just they're cheap villagers. Their economy is insane. And this means he'll also save food so he can get the upgrades on the Cav Archers. He can get Bracer. He can get Chemistry. Probably a world where soon after we could see heavy Cav Archer. But also, a big difference in the economic approach is that Winchester did not send any villagers to stone. Vipers had maybe like 20% of his villagers on stone throughout Castle Age. The Viper should have a lot of defensive castles, even though he'll be stuck in Castle Age for a while.
Maybe even 40C play there could be an option. And then the big question is like, Winchester, yeah, you are imp, but no castle, bombard cannons, could take quite some time. Viper should have a lot of tools to hold and delay till he should get imp with a way better economy.
Also, there's now a chance, if Vinchester's too aggressive, that the crossbow skirmisher comp from Viper could actually kill some CA. But I think it'd be wise for Vinchester just to pull back. And I think we'll see a siege workshop from Vinch. Yeah, Vinch wants to go bomber cannons, Nilly.
I don't mind
And
it.
that will take time, but Viper's still very far away from even clicking in. So I think bomber cannons could work to pressure Viper's buildings.
Oh, TC, 70% CA will find some villager kills, or will they? One down. Now focusing on the Scorpions.
Ooh, is this siege workshop going to get denied? Feel like that's a yes, but it's going to be super
no.
close. It's a no, as I said, and really get it together, man. And he's going to make a mangonel from that as well. But yeah, that's a good position to produce bomber cannons from. I think Viper, though, could just drop a castle on that siege workshop.
He goes for a market left. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. Cost a year now as well. Cross was trying to trade off against the CA as long as they can. Chemistry, the first upgrade that Winchester clicked. So really thinking about those bombard cannons.
But the siege workshop's good if you have army controlled. I think he is a little early with this. And I do not see what Mangonel is going to be able to do now. And Viper will just force him to make another siege workshop elsewhere. But still, Viper has no control, and Viper's going to lose his army, an army that's not scalable, and Vinchester's just going to add another siege workshop. Vinchester has a very strong army right now, and he's going to be pushing Viper soon.
Let's see. Oh, guard tower defense here.
What do you think about that? I don't like that.
He already has double castle. It feels so much more natural to go for a third castle. Maybe he thought, okay, left-hand side, it's just cheaper. Maybe he didn't want a left-hand side long-term castle. And then double guard tower obviously is cheaper.
Are guard towers affected by or effective against hussars though? I feel like compared to a castle, it's pretty ineffective.
Well, maybe. But how many hussars are we expecting from the left-hand side? I think Viper should just wall
Maybe
a bit
yeah.
more there.
Yeah,
Masonry now.
The argument that you could just stonewall it instead of even making the guard towers, but this is what happens. Even the Viper, he's put himself on the back foot. He's under pressure, and so you know you're doing a million things at once. You make a couple defensive decisions, and then the casters sit there talking about it for 40 seconds, and you've already forgotten about it. So here comes the light cav from Vinchester. Also interesting to me that he's going for camo right now. I think Winchester is expecting Viper to commit to Coustier this game, but Viper's still not even in the Imperial Age.
No, will take some time because he obviously will deal with that raid quite easily once they get there. And Viper taking a reasonable fight there with the skirms against the CA.
Yep. Remember Viper in Castle Age. Also, the Burgundians do not get the final armor upgrade for their ranged units in Imp. Which means their skirms are still a little lackluster. We do have bomber cannons for Vinchester, though, and he has a lot of them. Or he's got 2, but he will have more. And that is a lot right now for Viper because Viper doesn't have an army. He has an army, but it's a weaker army.
Skirms need to go back. CA relatively low as well. We now see Winchester even selling food for the 4th bomber cannon.
So Viper getting his first armor upgrade, his first one. I actually had to do a double take because scale barding kind of looks like plate barding. And I was like, wait, what? Viper's an imp? But no, he's getting his feudal age cav upgrade. Viper is going to try and dive here in the castle age to take out those bomber cannons. But if he doesn't, Nilly, or even if he loses his entire force to do so, I think this could be really, really tough for him in the future here.
Is he trying to take this big engagement? I would be really surprised. The Viper, I think he's only trying to buy himself some time, but he's not finding the kills against the bombers.
Yeah, he does have 128 villagers. Viper's at 160 pop in Castle Age. Also, Coustier have a charge attack, so their very first attack is 8 plus 25. So in theory, you want to go in, attack, and then run away, wait, and then fight again. Viper, much like the bot that he is just going to make skirms, just going to make pikes. Just a big mix of units here, but that is a big mix of Imperial Age units against him. And I think the perfect number of bomber cannons. I wouldn't even make more than 4, truthfully.
Yeah, I like that a lot as well, because he is now threatening the fight again. Viper, I think he's just trying to buy himself time.
Does have a lot of stone, but Imp is still 3 minutes away. He has clicked it now. I still wonder if this all scales well for Viper as he goes in here, Nilly. He's going to lose his Coustier. There's no doubt about that in my eyes. It's just how many bomber cannons will he kill? And the answer is 3.
Oh, and that's a lot of time. Yeah, the Winchester will get a forward castle up in exchange. Viper now heavily taking into pikemen. Not a lot of production by him now. Oh, even population still.
Crazy. Still wondering, what will Viper do? Is there a world where we see the revolution? I think the revolution would probably lose him the game in this situation, but it's worth reminding people that Flemish Revolution is a technology that turns all of your eco into Flemish militia. So if Viper were to click it, he'd have about 160 military. The problem is he'd have no siege to push castles. He then would have no villagers to bring in further resources. So I do not think this would be the time for that upgrade.
Also, an indicator is that he stopped at 138 villages. Normally, if he wanted to go for it, we would see him at 160, something in that ballpark. But he thinks, nah, not really. Not the greatest unit against cavalry archers. I don't have enough siege like T90 said over on the other stream. And therefore, he mainly goes for some more trash units trying to make a hold happen.
I love this from Vinch. He's not being tunnel visioned, and you can completely understand how he would be tunnel visioned in this scenario. He's spreading out. Viper was getting away with murder here on the right side or the north side with the gold. Those villagers are going to die. And also, Vinchester started to take a peek over to the left side, too. Now, Viper's got crazy resources. But he's not really going for any strong gold units here. And it seems like that castle is finally, as he makes its imp, going to fall.
Halberdier, Bracer, armor as well. Did he even go double blacksmith? Something I really like.
Yep.
Indeed, he
That
did.
makes sense because right now time is the most important thing for Viper, and he doesn't have a lot of it. He's getting as many upgrades as quickly as possible. But Nilly, like Cav counters Skirm, Cav Archer counters Help. So you could look at it the reverse way as well. But typically gold units are more mobile. They're going to have more HP. They're going to pack more of a punch, and anytime they take an engagement against their counterpart, and Viper just... It's either his villagers die or his buildings die or everything dies here. Viper needs a fight.
Will be more gold efficient for sure. Now moves in, upgrades the line quite nicely. Bombard cannon still around. Viper needs to repair. A lot of the camels already died.
It's true. Not the best unit control there from Vinchester. Also, doesn't have too many Cav Archers. Maybe there's a world where Viper could do this. Halbs are the most important unit here. Skirms help, but Halbs can also take out the Cav Archers if they get in close. Viper loses his castle here, Nilly. Vinchester's going to come forward and drop another castle. The bomber cannons are rolling away, though. Viper could kill them. Seems like Vinch will get away with some of them, and that castle is a possibility for him still if he wants to place it.
Are you sure about that one? It was 6 bombard cannons. Now we are down to 3. Trap is under some danger as well. And mass trash seems to be a good army composition somehow. Only 1 bombard cannon left out of 6.
No way. Vinchester lost all of them except for that one right there. And now his Cav Archers aren't being microed back. Vinchester. And now he loses the next one. He loses the Trebuchet. And now that castle for Vinchester is looking disastrous. What just happened? I think Vinchester's trying to make a tech switch into champion, thinking that that would be good against trash. But as he was doing that, Nilly, he lost everything. Holy cow.
Oh man, and remember, last armor upgrade not there for Indian champions, so could be a big problem. They are not as efficient. Hand cannoneers being added already by the Viper. He's doing all the right steps, but still, Winchester, lots of map control for him.
Yeah, lots of map control. But look at the cheeky town center from Viper. He's just trying to control that gold in what ways he can. Ridiculous, man. Vinchester, he needs this game. If he has any chance of winning the finals, he needs this game. Think back to the games that Viper's been able to claw away from Jordan and other players throughout King of the Desert. Viper has been insane, probably the best player in King of the Desert going into the finals. However, he has fallen behind, and in important sets, he always gets a win or two in those games where he dips behind. Vinchester, you need this one, buddy. You need this one. If Viper has... I mean... Nilly, when I saw him repairing that castle, I just figured it'd be a waste of stone and that he would end up dying anyways. But Viper has done almost the impossible to stay alive here.
Yeah, sometimes people even consider Age of Empires to have 5 resources. It's not only wood, food, gold, and stone, but also time. And it felt like Viper's time management was so good over and over in this game, with the upgrade timing perfectly there, with how he held that castle for so long, and somehow he is alive and at pop 180, where I think everyone else in the world would be already in game 3.
This is where we can see the Flemish Revolution. At this point, if you can get a few more town centers out of your Viper, it might make some sense, because you will have some siege. Winchester needs to go in to snipe these bomber cannons. He's lost so much siege this game, Nilly. It's insane.
Oh, but bomber cannons exposed now.
Yeah, almost impossible to react with such a slow bomber cannon, and good job from Vinchester. Now, Vinchester's buying himself time. Viper still has so many vills that are exposed, and Vinch is gonna... Oh god, his light cav. Next to the stone. He patrolled on stand ground, Nilly. Or no attack stance or something. He thinks those light cav are killing Viper's villagers right now. And Viper's villagers are gonna run away! Have you ever seen anything so ridiculous? Oh, God.
The most ridiculous thing since game number 1, where a dead villager was somehow saved.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Now Viper has time to send the halves. Oh, no. Okay, now Vinch realizes. And he's like, did I kill those vills? Okay, I guess I did. I guess I killed those villagers. Good job, me. I'm so good at this game.
Oh, God. I already said it yesterday. Winchester, one of his biggest weaknesses is the overboom. And look at that. 151 villagers. 2 more in the queue. He doesn't know.
And he can't... The difference is he can't turn his villagers into military. However, I think with these 3 castles, and maybe a castle more towards the south of his eco, he's pretty well protected right now. Viper doesn't have a real raiding unit. So I think if I'm Vinch, I use all that food income and send it into Viper's eco. Even if you're not getting too many kills, just go for it. And then you just prep bombard cannons and try and use your cav archers, bombard cannons to take the main fight, which Viper's gearing up for here on this hill.
Look at Viper's Q though. Hand cannoneers, bombard cannons. He's playing this really methodical. Just through the center. He knows, okay, I won't have a great army to fight, but his Qs will just be full after that, and it's just so tough to Vinch to break as well.
I actually don't think his Q is that good. I think his resources look good. But he only has bomber cannons queued right now. Granted, he is pop capped.
Okay.
I think if Viper had control of one of the corners, he would place 2 more TCs there. And with 6 or 7 town centers to add more villagers after the revolution, he would maybe consider it. But you don't want to go for the revolution if you don't think you can get your villagers back. That's always the key.
Burgundian vineyards has to be the tech, you know? Generating gold from farms?
That would be really strong. I'm surprised Viper didn't research it already. Wait, he doesn't have a castle.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
So, yeah, forget about both those things then, I guess. Yeah, he did lose 2 castles, and he hasn't placed another one since. A Viper with a palisade gate just to create some space. And he does a good job here. He doesn't lose his bombard cannons. I think that's the most important unit for him right now. Also cleans up some champions with the hand cannons. Not bad.
Oh, let's see. CA still diving. Goes for the hand cannoneers now. But obviously cannot accept any hits from the bombard cannons.
Still feel like Viper's army comp is worse.
Yep.
And I think his late game position is worse as well with lack of space. And lack of defensive castles, but it's just, can Viper push it back even further? Winchester has done a great job to recover after that bad fight, and man, the hand cannons look so bad right now.
Oh yeah, well, horrible against CA, even with the +4 attack, I think something they have. Yeah, indeed, they do have that. But now we can see the Q is completely put there, but the Viper drops to pop 150.
Yeah, Winchester's doing it. He's here with champions, he's here with the CA. He'll have the Hussars coming in. He has 31 Hussars queued. Viper's going to lose the game right here, Nilly. I mean, you would think so anyways. What does Viper have after this? If he loses his hill, he loses his villagers. He doesn't have a castle to be able to research the revolution or vineyards. And Viper calls it. Vinchester, it looked a little dicey, but he does finally punish the Viper for that greed with the Burgundians, and he ties up the final.
Whew. What a crazy good game by both of them. Viper with a hold that I've never seen before, and Winchester got further and further ahead. The CA did so much damage, and then the bombard cannon mass push.
Yeah, and I think that's just the problem with Burgundians is that... Wait, hold on a second. I'm being told that a player dropped and the game is being restored for game 2.
Okay. Might have made sense as well. I was a bit surprised that we had the GG here, because Viper still had a reasonable queue. He had pop 150, he had bombard cannons there. No.
Well, I still think Viper's dead, but we want Viper to think that he's dead before the game ends.
60 farmers as well for Winchester. He's going champions. He has more CA, more Hussars in the queue. He killed villagers. It's the massive hill. I think Winchester's looking really, really good here.
Yeah, he's got 3 relics. There's even a 4th out there that he could take. It's actually hidden behind an outpost. He's got the extra resources. Viper can never push castles. I think if Viper had a castle and had a couple more TCs, maybe the revolution would be his only chance. But yeah, we'll wait for the restore to see this game out in a proper way. But yeah, the problem with the Burgundians, in my eyes, is just if they're not going Cavalier in the mid game, it feels like it's so difficult for them to do anything.
Does the game ID work for you?
Oh no, Crazini said Viper resigned 1 minute after the restore. The game is over.
Okay.
So Viper got back into the game. They restored it, and then he just immediately resigned, as maybe we expected, Nilly. And it is officially 1-1 now.
Nice. Okay. Well, kind of what we expected there in the end. I was a bit surprised by the GG timing of the Viper, if that actually was the GG timing, but now it makes lots of sense. And Winchester putting himself on the scoreboard. You have to love it.
Yeah, seriously. And I think that was a good matchup for him, but also that's the type of game where Viper has gotten wins before. Viper took that really good fight against the Cav Archers in early Imperial Age, and then from there, everyone's like, "Oh my God, he's doing it again! The snake is back!" But maybe just didn't have the units to go for there, Nilly. Maybe it's a different game if Burgundians get the final armor upgrade on their skirms, or if Viper was able to expand to the north or the south in that game. But I'm excited. I just didn't want to see complete destruction from whoever wins the final. I want a competitive series. We've had that now.
Yeah. I'm pretty happy with that game as well. And Viper didn't have a great map. Also, Winchester went for quite some aggression. Just think about he could have finished this game maybe at minute 18 if it wasn't for the Viper doing so well with sniping those archers. Such a nice aggression.
If you think about Viper's MO, it's normally be creatively defensive and then go towards a better unit with better eco. He was creatively defensive and he didn't have a better unit with better eco. That's the way I see it. Well, Nilly, I see the Civ matchup for the next game, and this is going to be a fun talking point. We have Vinchester with the Berbers, and we have the Viper with the Huns. And it's not the first time we've seen this matchup, but Berbers, when up against Mongols or Huns, are favored because they have camels to counter anything like knights, and they have camel archers to counter cav archers. This is going to be a crazy one.
Yeah, absolutely. And the question is, though, can we get to those camel numbers? Can we get to camel archers? It feels like camel archers, so incredibly good. Winchester then in a beautiful spot. Castle Age, though, I've sometimes seen Berbers, even with the mass camels, struggling if Huns gets to 25, 30 CA.
Yeah, and we've also seen instances where, and one of my favorite ones was actually in the NAC qualifier. It was Doubt against Stark, I believe.
Oh, what a game. What a game, yeah.
Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. We've seen instances where going Halberdier Siege Ram can push back Camel Archers and Cavalier. But I think if Viper were to choose, and it's not really how this works, he, of course, drafted his civs, but if Viper were to choose, he would definitely want to be on the side of the Berbers here.
Yeah, I think so as well. Really open map as well. Tough for Huns to wall up the full map and get the fight that they kind of want with the CA, that you shoot, go back, and dictate the fights. With Berbers, you don't mind a super wild game where raids are happening everywhere and you have to split your army. That's where knights or camels shine against the CA.
Okay, now here's a question, because we have two really good cav civs. Will we see the crossbow upgrade?
Yes.
I think we'll actually see the crossbow upgrade from both, honestly. But then probably some skirms into knights. Billy, what do you think would happen if the crossbow upgrade were to be increased just slightly? Instead of 125, 75, maybe 150, 100.
What is it? Is it not more expensive than that? I thought
it was
125
food and 75 gold.
I thought that was the original price. It's more expensive, no?
Is it 150?
When did it get more expensive? Well, Elite Skirms got more expensive?
Elite Skirm got more expensive at one point, but I don't think crossbow ever did.
Really? Yeah, I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, I think it's an easy switch to make. People will still probably go crossbows anyways. So, anyways, we're in this game 3. I for one am hoping that we do not see a lot of crossbow and Winchester Berbers, Viper Huns very flexible. They do not have to build those houses, and you normally think about Castle Age with them because of their cheap cav archers, and that's where the flexibility really feels strong. With the Berbers, you could say similar things, because their best age is probably Castle Age Nilly because they have the cheaper stable units, all in knights, all in camels. That's typically where you see Berbers shine.
Yeah. Sometimes they have to mix in some Scorpions to deal with the mass CA, but they wouldn't really mind that. And especially looking at Winchester's map, this one looks really solid. I can see lots of walls being placed down, nice defensive woodline, gold, berries, everything safe. I really like Vinch's chances.
I agree with you. Viper's map, he can make it work, but certainly not one of his famed map hacks because the gold berries are a bit more further forward for him. And this is definitely shaping up to be a crazy final here. And I feel like this weekend deserved it. I really enjoyed the semis yesterday, but I didn't leave fully satisfied because they were 4-1s.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third place match was a 3-0. This is where all the best games have been saved for. This is where the Age of Empires gods are going to bless us today, as it should be.
Yeah, nice. I also felt Viper against Jordan, except the Britain's Khmer game, didn't really have the exciting ones. It was always meta. It was so clean, so standard, incredibly high level, but I didn't see the highlight scenes.
Yeah. Well, what's weird to me is if you think back to previous King of the Deserts, and this is why I've circled back to this so many times. Previous King of the Deserts had like 3 different groups of knights and like ram pushes in Castle Age. But like, you think of King of the Desert this year, hasn't really been a lot of that because of the crossbow meta. So I'm hoping that we see knights in this one. Knights and cav archers would make me so happy. And Winchester is going to open up with a barracks. He loves his little 2 militia drush nilly, so we might see the same thing here to get a little bit of map control against the Viper.
Well, let's see how much the Viper will allow him. 4 on wood by the Snake. Berries pretty late, so feels like a counter drush by the Viper.
Okay, so more drushing. Viper doesn't have to build his houses, but you start with minus 100 wood with Huns, so the barracks will be a little delayed. But after this, you're feeling pretty strong to place your mill and place your farms. I'm wondering if Viper will go for more than just 2 militia. Vinch has been doing 2 a lot. It's enough to do damage and stop the opponent from walling up. But he's also not spending as much food, which allows him to go feudal age. I want wood for Viper maybe to compensate a little bit for starting with minus 100 wood. I like that.
He's getting the berries up now as well, or the mill up as well. And yeah, it seems more like 2 militia versus 2 militia here.
Yeah. Such a good level, though. Viper tracking the militia. Then you have Vinchester looking for the militia. This is funny, actually. Viper sent his militia behind his barracks. But Vinchester's looking for them right now. Or maybe he's looking to group up, honestly, with his militia coming forward. He was faster to the barracks, after all.
Militia didn't know where to go. They were like in the TC, and okay, now he knows, okay, it's going to be at the front at the berries, or does he know? Militia, they're still confused.
Yeah, Viper, good little quick wall here just to buy a little bit of time. They'll also have Loom. I think Viper will actually fight back with the Vils here. And yeah, Vinchester surely will realize that if he takes a fight there, Viper's got the Vils close to just pull and fight. In the end, we should see feudal age uptime coming in pretty clean. I'm just curious on if someone will be faster with it. Feels like Vinch is going to be 1 Vil faster with this. Not that that's really game breaking, but
why
there he goes.
Does the Viper already have 3 farms?
I think he's made a mistake going with so much on wood here. He's got villagers on straggler trees as well as having villagers on lumber camp. So that's why Viper hasn't clicked up yet. So maybe he just feels like this approach is better for his economy, but definitely will be later to feudal age here.
Okay.
Also, a better fight for Vinch, I think, because Vinch has the higher HP scout. So not a bad spot for Vinch to be in.
Oh, militia is lower there, and whew, okay. I quickly need to ban some people in my chat. Sorry.
Go for it. Have fun. I feel like okay. It's like I cast with Dave yesterday, and Dave's like, "I'm banning people," and then now you're talking about banning people. Like lots of bans, man, from my co-casters.
Yeah. Like I appreciate a discussion, but whew, there was some rough some words were dropped.
Okay. Oh, you don't agree that T90 doesn't think crossbow should be more expensive? I hate you. Is that what happened?
No, it was more like discussion, like about casting, who with whom, what caster they like, and what caster they don't like, and I think it's fine to say I like this caster, but being very disrespectful to any caster is something I don't appreciate.
Man. All right, Nilly. Well, sorry you had to deal with that. Vinchester going 2 to gold while also making a stable. Vinchester, explain this to me. Oh god, he tries to trap Viper and oh, oh, he almost flexed on the Viper. The gold thing was weird for Vinch, but he did do this in the previous game with the stable opening, and Viper's looking to scout it right now. And Viper has not seen that yet, so he might be assuming a range. Viper on gold. Viper actually hasn't decided on what he wants to build yet. Now he sees the stable. Has not placed the feudal age military building yet.
Mainly farms. It feels so weird.
Yeah.
Is he booming without walls? Okay, stable now.
I kind of appreciate the patience there from Viper, because the first thing I do when I'm in feudal is I've already pre-decided what building I'm gonna place.
Yeah.
And
I
just place it.
decide before I go start the game.
Okay, that's good as well. Nearly advanced build orders. But you know, it's kind of a repeat of the previous game. I honestly feel as though Winchester going scout into archers here could be one of the most exciting things of this this tourney for me, because this is not a build that we saw much from him before. It would normally be archers into then scouts, but he's reversed it. He's now going to gold nilly. He's got plenty on wood for the range. But I think we will see the range soon.
Okay, seems like range from both players. And archer scout, as you said, sounds really exciting. Some spearmen being mixed in as well. Shouldn't really get too many hits off though.
Yeah, you see the scouts there for Vinch. Vinch will see the villagers on gold. Now, Vinch is going to be like, wait a second. He's got a stable too, and he also has villagers on gold. The difference is Viper might be a little heavier with the food eco right now, but it's pretty darn close. Also, is there a hole in Viper's woodline there?
I think no. Between the palisade and the lumber camp from the 1000. No, not really.
Okay, it kind of looked like the way the palisades are positioned towards the south of that, there might be. Huns do have faster producing stables here. So that does help a little bit. And Viper, of course, has the spearmen. The spearmen seem to be protecting where he needs them to be. And now he's going to send 4 scouts forward. And he's getting bloodlines. And Winchester is without an archer right now. I think the issue in the previous game was he was a little late to the archers to counter Viper's spearmen. This game, he's going to send scouts back to defend, so he at least senses Viper is going to be here.
Oh, let's see if the villager actually gets a pretty good pathing there. Should make it to the TC, or even back to the gold. Interesting, but Viper now with Bloodlines, 4v3. Would love to take that fight.
Vinchester's going to feel so uncomfortable now, because he was the one who was faster to feudal. He was the one who wanted to be more offensive. And now Viper's on him, and Viper's got the stronger scouts. Viper taking good fights here. There will be more numbers from Vinchester, so this is the moment for Viper. He clears up the scout numbers. He only loses 1, and he could even get good hits on the second. Vinchester's struggling right now.
Oh, man. That's really rough for him. No upgrades there. Militia even helping out a bit. And low HP scouts. Viper has to be super happy with his engagements.
Yeah. Viper's in full control right now. The other thing is he didn't need to invest into an archer range. So he could just farm. If you look at his farm count's insane. So he stayed on stable units against the Berbers, which in Castle Age anyways is a worry. But good control for Viper. And he doesn't have that much military now, which is interesting. He could have made more scouts. Chose not to. Now Winchester should win this fight, I believe.
Let's see. Well, even without bloodlines, but now more HP. And Viper, I'm surprised how greedy he played without the archer range. Could have dropped it way earlier. And drops a wild blacksmith and an archer range now.
I love how open this is, though. This is the type of game that you want. And Winchester thinks this is my time. And truthfully, it is the proper time to go forward, especially with how greedy Viper has been. But I think Winchester does not know that this army's coming in, so he might need to get some walls down.
Well, it's only 4 scouts, 2 spearmen. He has 2 spearmen himself. I think Viper's in more trouble than Winchester is.
Good point. Viper does lure the spearman out of position, though. And Winchester may be getting baited a little bit, as Viper now has to protect his gold, but Viper doesn't know the archer range is out, remember. The Viper will have to react, Winchester will have to react, and Berber villagers are faster for Vinch. So Vinch can save his vills. Viper now needs to run, but the woodline needs to be abandoned as well.
Oh, this is so good for Winchester. He will find some villager pigs. I think if it wasn't for the Viper, just shuffling those villagers beautifully. 1 down though.
Did lose 1, so not quite as beautiful as you would expect. But Now he has to make a lumber camp. Look at this. He's making all of his ecos on the front. This is backwards. He's abandoned the safe wood lines on the back. He's now on the front. And I guess Viper is just going to make more scouts here, but he really needs the numbers to be here. And his scouts that were at Vinchester's base that are now coming back are super low HP. So I don't know if he can kill Vinchester's army easily.
Scouts on the front, 4 archers around this. Would love to see Winchester actually, like, full fuel age commitment could have been a thing, but he obviously would love to play Berbers in Castle Age as well.
I love the patience from Vinch. Viper's going to pull Vils to try and distract. Don't attack the villagers. Kill the army from Viper. If you kill the army from Viper, then you can kill the villagers. It's so close, and Viper does have bloodlines and armor. None of those upgrades are in for Vinchester's scouts, and Viper seems like he's just barely getting by with the greed here, Nilly.
Oh, but really barely. I think maybe 1 or 2 villagers might still be in trouble. 20 seconds till we reach Castle Age.
That's disgusting. How did he only lose 1 villager to this? One night, and he could be okay here.
Now tries to wall behind this, mainly focusing on the archers. And yeah, and they didn't even lose that many HP. Apparently upgrades are a good thing on scouts.
Yeah, apparently. But Nilly, you're right. I think the opportunity for Vinch was while he was sending his archer scouts forward, add a second stable, add a second range, or just all in your production. If he went all in feudal there, Viper had no walls, and Viper would have died to it, I think.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of what ifs when you play the Viper. Now there's a second TC for him. He's sorted out his eco, and he's starting to make cav archers and some knights.
Oh, and that will buy him quite some nice time. The question is, Winchester, how will he be able to defend his gold? Spearman looking good against the knights, but the CA will be the scary thing.
Yep, CA will definitely be the scary thing, and you get excited about when you see Berbers versus Huns because you think camel archers and cheap knights and camels. However, camel archers need to be created out of a castle, so it's not that simple. Good walls, though, from Vinchester. My issue is, how are you going to protect your gold from cav archers if you don't have a tower? I think maybe since the cav archer numbers aren't high enough, he'll be fine for now. And he'll hope to push back once he gets some units on the field.
Yeah, he will just invest some spearmen, trying to buy himself some time. And I think once he gets like 2 till 4 camels out, he should be defending that gold quite nicely. Maybe being forced into a siege workshop.
Is this too greedy from Viper? I mean, he's gone 3 TCs here. This is pretty insane.
Control by the Viper everywhere now.
Yeah, he's got houses being attacked here, Vinchester. He has to deal with that. Viper looking to break in from all angles. AD 20 to 15, which is remotely close, but Viper has 3 town centers, and he won't be spending food on knights anymore. Should be pretty easy for him to have quite a few vills on wood, quite a few vills on gold, spam cav archers, and also spam villagers out of all those town centers.
Oh, gets in there at the bottom, but double house to save the day. 1 scout on the wrong side of the front line.
Both players have done such a good job in this game of keeping vills alive.
Yeah.
I feel like Vinch could have lost 3 or 4. Viper could have lost even more than that.
He could have lost 15, honestly, against that army that came in.
Yeah, right? Crazy. And that was that without the Berber bonus. At least Vinchester had the additional speed. Here come the camels. If camels attack cav archers, they melt them. They absolutely melt them. The issue is camels have less pierce armor than a knight does. So Viper will have quite a few CA pretty soon and should be able to hit the camels, excuse me. I want to see if Viper saves the CA.
CA number's not crazy yet. 10 drops a bit more, tries to get ballistic now, but has husbandry, which is really nice against the camels.
What number of cav archers would you say is the key to dominate the mid game?
1 mil. Oh, okay, 25.
25? Yeah, okay. I typically think 25 is the way. I guess what's unique about this situation is that normally when we're talking cav archers, it's a 1 TC play. And Viper has 3 town center economy. Normally the order is mass the cav archers, then add the economy. Viper has used the faster castle age to get a pretty significant Vill lead, as he might even be thinking a 4th TC on that gold over there. Are you kidding me, Viper? He's sending Vills over there, and poor Winchester just didn't see it.
Oh man, and 40C hunts. Well, the map is so open, so it only makes sense. Don't care about idle TC time. It's mainly to protect the villagers as well. And the CA taking a reasonable engagement against the camels.
Yeah, chain barding is in, so Viper has to be a little careful, but yes, camels are cheap. Yes, camels do a lot of damage if they attack, but they still are camels. They're still low pierce armor. But it's really tricky if Huns get here. But there you go, Vinchester. Vinchester hits the wood line, and Camel's not too shabby at killing Vills either, Nilly. 4 villagers killed there. Vinchester will like to see that. What he won't like to see is just how many town centers are out for the Viper right now. We do have a second TC for Vinch. It is on stone, so he might be thinking Camel Archer. But will the eco be good enough to mask the Camel Archers? You need the castle, and then you need the time.
Yeah. Well, tries to go for a 30C, but that's a traffic jam there.
Ooh, yeah, that hurts. On the bright side, he's sending more Vills, so the Vills won't be idle too long. But Viper defending well with the Cav Archers. And he is leading by a large margin here. Killing more villagers here. Vinchester not reacting fast enough. 73 villagers versus 57. Viper has double the military lead as well.
Full control here. What a controlled game by Hunt. Honestly, now add some more archery ranges. Just feels so smooth in all the steps.
This game very much reminds me of how Viper played game number 1. When he plays for a little bit more control than he did in the Burgundian game, he's able to find the TC spots, get the eco on the back of good military numbers. And Viper even going for another town center. Okay, this is a bit extreme. 5 TCs for Viper. I thought he was saving that stone for a castle, but apparently not.
Well, the thing is, what I mentioned earlier is like, especially on the open Arabia, like Berbers would love to play like small numbers of knights and camels and raid everywhere. Well, if we have TCs everywhere, that won't really be a threat, and you can simply go for the mass attack with the CA through the center.
Yeah, and I mean, he also needed a new wood line because he just chopped through to that pond. I think it's just so easy to play Huns. You just spam Vills, you spam CA, and you patrol. You don't have to be too cute. You don't have to focus on the walls. Here you see it, Viper. Let's see if he reacts. He has plenty of time to react, and yep, camels need to get out of here. As Viper is forward at Vinchester's gold, and Viper could honestly think of sticking around here. He does have some weak cav archers, but there's not many camels. And 1 tower won't be enough to discourage Viper from diving that.
The Mangle is not that scary against CA either. Well, we'll see 30C now. Maybe finds a villager kill on the gold.
Viper is at a spot where he will almost one-shot these camels. If there's any weak camels in there, they are going to be gone, and this is just the worst position to be in if you're Vinchester. It really comes down to what Viper was able to do in late feudal, early castle. Vinchester unable to do damage against Viper, and Viper's made him pay here. With the faster town centers and the faster cav archer numbers, Vinchester's been playing catch-up ever since.
But is he really catching up? He is not too far behind when it comes to villagers, and we mentioned multiple times how nice it is if he gets to camel archers, but the Viper is going for a really aggressive move here.
I like this. And if he places that castle, he denies stone from Vinch. Vinch won't be able to use that long term. And then that could also mean that Viper just continues to drop castles because he can mine that. And there's just not enough army for Vinch. It's even lower than last I checked. It's at 10 now. He can't stop this castle.
9 camels. Not really a strong army. 39 CA, more in the queue. Viper continues to play Castle Age, but even if we consider that a Trapper could be deciding who's coming out ahead with more castles, I would give the edge over the Hunt player.
Also, the other golds are towards the south. So if Viper notices that, I think Viper could go pretty aggressive here in the Castle Age.
Look what he's doing. He knows. He knows.
Yeah, he's going to wall it off. That's cheeky. Well, I don't mind it. I also would not mind to see a castle there. I think that if Vinch could drop an ideal castle, he would drop the castle on that hill. But Vinch obviously doesn't have the ability to protect himself right now, so won't be sending villagers to that hill anytime soon. This is why everyone loves the Huns. the flexibility, the openness, the aggression. Viper did so much in this game, but in the Castle Age, he has looked unstoppable. 50 Cav Archers, and this game continues and continues, and I think Capture Age is spoiling that it might not continue any longer, but a game sped up there, Nilly, and Viper might see the castle. Oh, no.
He's moving in there for sure. Camel number's not that high. And Pop 175 against Pop 110. It's not a Capture Age spoiler. The population is spoiling quite a bit as well.
Yeah, it's true. That is true. That is going to be a doubt castle. We didn't think we'd have doubt in the finals, but we do have doubt in the finals. Winchester ends up getting, Viper ends up getting the victory, and it was just such a greedy yet masterful display from the Viper.
Not really sure. Winchester. I think I would have liked a feudal age shot in. It's not really where Berbers shine, but the Viper played so greedy. No archery range. If you have like 4 archers, 2 spearmen, Winchester wins this game, no? In feudal age.
Yeah, I think so. So I'm actually, you might not want to do this, but I'm actually going to go back with Capture Age Pro real quick to that point. And I just want to see what the resources looked like for Vinch.
What do I need to press for that?
Press T to show the pop-up.
Yeah.
If you have Capture Age Pro, and
Obviously
then you can select.
I do.
Yeah, and then you can select the time.
Where did we
it was
jump?
around 1750 is what I'm looking at right now.
Okay, 17. Yeah.
So this is when, you know, Viper's army goes in. It doesn't end up killing any vills, and then we have the little base trade, right? At this point, we don't have any additional scouts in queue or any additional archers in queue for Vinch. Honestly, with 2 more scouts, 2 more archers, I think Viper's dead here. Would you agree?
Yeah, feels like it. Or like also some more spearmen at the front, right? If he was walled at home and all the spearmen could be at the front, the scouts could have never engaged.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I'm watching Vinch run around Viper's base. He's got 200 to 300 food. He's got 200 gold. Honestly, if he had army in queue right there, Viper's greed would be punished, and Viper would, at the very least, have half of his economy underneath the town center. And I can't even say in the town center, because he'd have so many vills, he wouldn't be able to fit them all in the TC.
Also, is looping around the best move? Because if you take the hunt player away from gold, you also win the game.
Yeah.
Killing wood villagers? I think killing 2 gold villagers is more valuable than killing 4 wood villagers.
Well, I mean, you did force Viper to run away from all of his wood lines, too, so there's value in that. I just think the issue was the follow-up, because he looped right back around to the front. The problem is he just didn't have a little more army. And Nilly, you know what? I think if the roles were reversed, granted, Viper wouldn't play the same way, but if the Civ roles were reversed, I think Vinch goes feudal all in. But in the back of his mind, he's thinking Berbers are Castle Age Civ. Berbers have cheap knights and cheap camels, and that's when I win the game. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately for him, that was incorrect in this game. Feels so sick, though. Like, typical Viper to just get by there and just cruise control in Castle Age.
Really, really well played indeed with the defense. And we jump to the end to look at the better statistics then?
Yeah, I skipped through the statistics, but you can lay it on me.
Okay, no, you know on what channel to find all the statistics that are so valuable. Oh, look at that statistic. Only seen on this channel.
Oh, the statistic's so good. I see what you're trying to do here, Nilly.
Ooh, look at that juicy number. Oh, another one. APM graph.
Hey, also, no crossbow upgrade researched in that game. I don't need the statistics to say that.
Okay.
So we had 1 game without crossbow.
I'm showing it on stream as well that no crossbow upgrade was researched.
Well, I do see the Civs for game 4. That I can show people. It's Incas for Vinchester.
No one cares about that.
Lithuanians for Viper.
Okay.
Vinchester loves his Incas, Nilly. Incas could do fairly well against the Lithuanians. I think Lithuanians are a top-tier Civ. But if it gets to Halberdier, Ram, maybe even some Eagles mixed in, I think Lithuanians could struggle against that. We kind of had the same discussion, what would have been the first semi, right? Wait, hold on. What? We talked about this at some point together, I believe. Anyways.
And first semi feels very reasonable.
Yeah, because we didn't cast anything else together, so... I recall Vinch had Mayans Oh yeah, it was Mayans Lithuanians. Remember, Leary went 1 TC, and then Vinchester went for the plumed archer choice. That was the game where I mentioned it.
Yeah.
But obviously, we didn't see that, and Incas have even more options than Mayans, so we'll have to see. But Vinch has some really good civs saved up here. Not that Viper doesn't, but Winchester hasn't played with Britons yet. He hasn't played with Aztecs yet. And you've got, I mean, Berbers he lost with, but Berbers was a civilization that was kind of lower in his ranking. Not too shabby here for Winchester. If he can get a win here, tie it up, it would be sick for the finals, Nilly. We have game number 4 now. And game number 4, is this a must-win in a best-of-9 for Winchester?
Well, technically no, but 3-1 down doesn't feel too pretty for sure. I think especially since both players still have lots of their top 4 picks left, you still have some breathing room.
Okay, speaking of not too pretty for sure, we have this crater that Viper's in. Like, I understand what they're trying to do with the hills.
What?
What is this ring at Viper's base? This is ridiculous.
This is so weird. I've never seen something like that in a map where it's not intended.
Yeah, I think what is intended is a bunch of tiny hills, and you can kind of see that portrayed at Vinchester's base. The problem is for Viper, all the tiny hills grouped together, and they became one big hill. So Viper's going to have an uphill battle. You could also say that there's some positives if he controls the hills, but this is never something you want to see.
Yeah, well, especially the goal at the front just feels so rough there, right? You can never really get control over that one. Maybe need to think about towering. I think Viper could even go for a really small base and just go defensive woodlines, defensive gold in the back, and berries, and go for the main gold in Castle Age.
That's a good point. He did do that with Burgundians, remember? He took the back gold. I would like that. The difference here is Viper will want to take more control, and so let's talk about that. Plus 150 food for him at the start of the game with this civ, one of the best civs in the game for sure. And with that, they can go for very fast feudal, go scouts, go man-at-arms, go archers. If it goes into ranged units, Lithuanians have speedy skirms. So all archer civs should fear those Lithuanian skirmishers. That said, Incas, they have some good options out there, and one of which is the Eagle. So Eagles are great against archers and skirms. Then you've got Viper on knights, and it's just this fun little back and forth that I hope we have all the way to the Imperial Age here.
Sounds like a lovely story, T90, and I would be willing to join the ride here. 3 on wood for the Viper. Ooh. The big question is, like, how early will he go up? We've seen something crazy like pop 17. Technically, you could play pop 16. The Viper, a guy that isn't known to go too crazy. He's more of a pop 18 guy, I would think.
I hate to say it because I have kind of complained about it massively.
Okay.
But I don't think we're going to see scouts from Viper. I think it makes sense against Incas to expect militia and or archers. And going fast feudal into a range just makes so much sense here. If you're able to beat them to feudal and then beat them to archers, Incas are going to struggle. Yes, they do have eagles that they can make in feudal, but eagles produce... I think it takes 60 seconds to produce a feudal age eagle, which takes so long.
Yeah, massive buff there in Castle Age. I think that's only 35 seconds then, I think.
Yeah, it's either 30 or 35 it takes to create them in Castle Age, which is good. I think if they produced that quickly in feudal age, that's all you'd probably see from Incas, Aztecs, and Mayans, potentially.
Yeah, maybe. And also, like, Empire Wars would get way worse then, and would see them more there.
True.
The Viper now sending 2 more on wood, and it feels like pop 19 is his choice.
Now, we did talk about how bad Viper's base looks, and I think that's easy to look at and say, oof, that's disgusting. However, Vinch needs gold with Incas. I mean, he can go halbs and skirms, whatever. But look at Vinchester's golds.
Horrible.
His golds are worse. And I mean, his woodlines, I guess, would be better, but still, his woodlines are next to elevation, and his berries are next to some level of elevation. So it might not be a ring, But I think Viper's base might even be a little better here.
Feels so weird to say it, but yeah, Winchester's base is really open. He is relying on that gold, and honestly, like the main gold position is the same, simply with the difference that the Viper has a way better secondary gold.
Oh, Viper, he was. Oh wait, hold on a second. What's going on here? Oh, he wanted to trap the army. I was wondering why he delayed, because he was initially going to go for a small wall, but I think Viper's playing with fire here. If an eagle arrives, he could lose a Vil. Oh, this is the elevation that Vinchester needs. But what? He's going over here instead. What's happening?
Viper apparently willing to fight this one off. Scouts not even inside, is slowly but surely coming over. And what is he doing? What?
He didn't know that he was there. Oh my god. Dude, Nilly, if Viper's willing to fight it with villagers, you make Viper fight it when he has 2 villagers. You don't make Viper fight it when Viper's got 7 or 8 over here. I have to question that decision from Vinch. And then, of course, the execution. To forget about the TC. Hurts to see if you're a Vinch fan.
I kind of knew that the TC had to be in that direction. One villager now fighting it off, takes the kill, and Scout goes over there. And we will see the stable.
Yes! Yes! The first Scout opening of the weekend, I think. I didn't see Leary versus Jordan, but I would probably guess we didn't see it there either.
Well, what did Viper just do in Hunt's game?
That wasn't a Scout opening, though, because didn't he go rush? Didn't he open with something else? I actually forget already. This is bad. Did he go Scouts? Really?
Maybe. Well,
didn't he go 2 militia into the Scouts, just like Vinch?
Okay. So pure Scout is important for you, okay?
Very clearly.
Okay.
Clearly, this matters so much to me.
Okay.
Anyways, Vinchester on that very vulnerable gold. He's going to need some walls there as the Scouts come forward, but he's in an interesting spot here because he could just make some spearmen. I think what's awkward for Vinchester is he's got a lot of walling to do against Scouts, and he's got so much food, Incas can't go for their own Scouts and spend that food. So it feels like his eco is a little out of whack here.
Why is he floating that much food? Quite surprising. Archer range now coming. Gold won't be that pretty. I think you might even go heavily on eco upgrades here.
Yeah, okay. Viper, of course, will have the eco upgrades. Dream scenario for Lithuanians to be able to get off a scout rush against this civilization and now have the mobility is just perfect. A good defense from Vinch. He hasn't lost any villagers. I think it feels awkward for him right now with only 7 on wood, but he could always fix that. And Spearman Archer could always terrify Viper unless Viper wants to go for skirms.
Scout's still annoying. I think I would love to see Winchester getting better walls up, but obviously that's easier said than done, simply because he doesn't really have the control right now, and 2 Scouts squeezing through again.
So tough to react constantly, but he is doing that, and he's done a fairly good job. Still has the Spearman here. Viper will get some hits and run away. Viper's really asking questions of him. Viper can now start to think about attacking Spearman. If you've got 3 Scouts, you probably don't want to attack the Spearman. You've got 5 Scouts, you can easily take out 1 Spearman. Winchester needs to group his Spearmen together now.
But what area do you leave exposed then? That's the question. If you put 2 next to the berries, well, we have 7 villagers. Is it an option to go for blacksmith and armor? Just to have the villagers fighting back better?
Well, you remember they don't get blacksmith upgrades in feudal anymore.
Yeah. Okay, never mind.
Yeah. Do you remember that time where the devs removed that and didn't replace it with anything? Anyways, Scouts from Viper.
Well, that they became unplayably bad?
No, it didn't become unplayably bad. Fair. Also, militia just standing there. Maybe you get the armor upgrade for that militia, so he can kill something.
Okay.
Over at Viper's base. I think that's a really good tower on the gold. I think that this map is bad enough where Vinchester has to do that. It also gives him 1 less area to have to protect with Spearmen, because he can always hop inside the tower. Also, how is Vinchester at 500 food right now? That's honestly sick macro for everything he's had to do. As he sent 2 villagers to stone behind this, maybe he'll think about more defensive towers.
And Viper not believing his eyes, and he's trying to find Winchester's army. He knows, okay, no archers around, they have to be somewhere.
Yeah.
Viper not finding them.
I feel like maybe the militia scouting in his base will give Viper some sense of paranoia. The militia was sitting there, and now he's... I guess it makes sense to protect your gold anyways, but... You're right. Vinch is just going to have time to drop a tower here, and Winchester somehow survives unscathed. He didn't go for any upgrades here, Nilly. And this is so well played from Winchester. Oh my goodness. I thought he was going to get completely overwhelmed. Might actually have a good opportunity to take this towards Castle Age.
Feels like it. Tower's forced though, and Winchester won't really find too much damage either. The big question is how big is the timing window going to be here in favor of Winchester with his potentially crossbows?
Winchester now sending his archers out, and now Viper's paranoia is probably hitting him. He's like, wait a second. Okay, the tower thing's fine, but I only saw Spearman and Eagle there. I do not see any archers, so he should be looking for these. If Vinch can get some damage in and be faster to Castle Age, this would be huge.
Winchester lacking the second building, only now finished that one. Therefore, Blacksmith and second barracks. The big question though, how many barracks is he going to produce out of? Against Leary yesterday, we saw some mind games. Only 2 barracks and a boom behind it.
I like how he's just got 1 on stone now. That 1 stone is going to give him enough stone to get the second TC at the time that it would make sense. Really fine-tuning his eco and fine-tuning the situation. I think that this is a good decision from Viper to take out the barracks, honestly. Like, if he takes out the barracks, then Vinch will have to make more of them, and he probably expects some sort of eagle play, though Vinch does also have 1 archer in the range. So as far as Viper knows, there could also be a lot of archers out there.
Oh, he apparently doesn't know about the 5 archers that are looping around and are most certainly going to find 1, 2, maybe even more villager kills. Viper unaware of this and completely out of position.
Wow, so good from Vinch. Oh, and Viper does react instantly, but he still loses the villager. This will still do damage to him. And there's nothing worse than having the units to kill your opponent out there and then not reacting. And now look, the barracks could be saved at 15 HP. Winchester repairs the barracks, forces the scouts away. That might not seem like a big deal, but now he has 3 production buildings for Eagles if he keeps it up. That was so impressive from Winchester.
Nice move. But some work. Villager still repairing. Can he make it home? 6 HP? Seems like yes.
Yeah. Armor also would affect villagers in a second. And Viper send villagers back to work, but Vinchester distracted. And oh man, Vinchester definitely could have got 1 more there. But I still think he'll love his current position.
Yeah, I think so as well. Eagles now, +3 attack. Will easily deal with this army. Viper needs to run. And Viper is actually going to play Knights here.
Knight, probably your best play, but to be off all these farms, to have that forward goal just makes things so awkward for you. And now he won't have many strong archer counters because the skirms are all dead. And Vinch is just going to add the second TC. This is the best Winchester I have ever seen. In my 6 years of casting, this is the best Winchester I've ever seen. This is so good.
Love the monastery behind this. Archers, will they find more kills? Villagers are going to be safe, most likely. Viper missing with his scouts.
That should be a dead Vill. Yeah, should be a dead Vill. Oh! Viper saves her. And here come those Eagles. If there was a hole, Viper could be dead. There was no hole. Viper has the potential to have the strongest knights in the game if he can get some relics.
Well, he still has to be open, right? At the second stable. Bit surprised.
No Eagle Warrior upgrade, though. These are just Eagle Scouts. I don't know if you want to be around those stables if you're Winchester.
Winchester again, not playing it too crazy.
Yeah.
Extra TC, monastery, long game player.
Yeah, he's starting to get relics too. Maybe the whole boom approach suits the relics, but my concern for him is that his Eagles are getting caught out. So I think the boom is fine, but you have to keep some army alive, and you have to threaten Viper in some way. That's a bit sloppy there from Vinchester. Those Eagles took time and resources to produce, especially because it's so costly on gold.
Well, we will see. 30 C now by Vinch as well. Goes for some spearmen. Monk defense should be relatively easy.
Also, he snagged the relic that was pretty close to Viper. instead of getting the ones that were close to him. He knows that Lithuanians are going to get that +1 attack on their cav per relic. And he got a conversion there with the monk defense, Nilly. So 43 villagers for Vinch might not look that good compared to Viper's 41. However, it is now 3 TCs for Vinchester. And if you think about how Vinchester liked to play Incas against Leary in a semifinal, he loved his castles and Kameyuks. Looks like he's gearing up for that again.
Oh, looks a bit like it. 4 on stone, TC on stone. I don't really see him having too many problems. Most likely he will get... I wouldn't be surprised if he gets up to 4 relics here.
Viper did just research the light cav upgrade. He's hunting for the monks. Could honestly get 2 here. Oh no, run away, monk, run away. That monk goes down. The other one might actually make it back to the town center as Vinch is coming in with relic number 2. And there he goes into the TC. Well played, Vinch. But well played, Viper.
Is annoying there. TC number 3 by the Viper as well. Won't fall behind in economy too far, I would assume. Big question still is, how many relics is the Viper going to get?
Also, my thought process is Nightline even what Lithuanians are going to need here in the future? Viper fails to kill that monk. Loses the light cav. But yeah, I mean, relics or no relics, do you really want to be going knights against a civ that gets Kameyuk and Halb? I think that's a little dangerous.
Well, maybe it's just the long-term plan. Putting the threat a bit into the head of your opponent as well. Maybe they commit a bit more. And then the big question, like Lithuanians, how wild are we going to be? Is champions an option? Probably not, because then slingers could be on the field.
There is definitely a timing with knights where they are going to be stronger, much stronger than the pikemen. Interesting how Viper just left that 1 relic there, but he should get 2. One's on the way back, and the other one he left behind the tree, because I think he spotted the other one. And he wants to get that as soon as possible.
That's so weird,
Vinch
though,
is
to
having
drop
a
it off
gap.
in the midfield there.
So weird. Yeah, very, very casual like. He's probably like, we'll just save that for later.
Still has knights around. Unlikely that it will be contested. Winchester, he's not working towards that one at the bottom. That's a bit surprising to me. He sees it.
If you think about it, he doesn't really have the army to contest it. I guess if he gets conversions, he does. But maybe he's just... Maybe he thinks he's done a good enough job, and he just wants to wait for Kameyuks now.
Okay.
Not a big fan of Winchester's castle, though. I mean, he'll probably make more. But personally, I would have liked to see the castle in front of his main gold, because that's a real spot of concern.
Oh, yeah. Maybe felt because he already had the tower there. That already is guaranteeing him some defense.
Oh my god, the archer from Vinch. Can it kill that monk? Vinch, micro it.
3 more
Micro
shots.
it, Vinch.
2 more shots.
Oh!
Uphill!
Oh
Uphill!
If that wasn't uphill, the monk would be dead. But wait, here come the eagles. Vinch must have noticed this. He's clicked pikeman now, which I don't get because he only has 4 spearmen. And he can make Kameyuks. And then down goes the monk. Okay.
But still, I think the Viper should go into that direction. More likely that he will get to the 3rd relic than Winchester will. And yeah, I agree with you. Would have loved to see Kameyuk over pikemen.
Kameyuk are just better pikemen, are they not? They have 7 base attack, 70 HP, versus 4 base attack, 55 HP.
Obviously,
Viper doesn't get a monk over there soon. This could be a problem. Sorry, what'd you say?
Obviously, they cost gold, so that's a bit of a problem, or like a bit more of investment. But simply like their fighting formation is just so much better with the range.
Oh man, when will Viper build his castle? Because Vinch is about to drop a forward castle on Viper. Viper's army is protecting the monk getting the relic. Oh, this is such a bold move from Vinch. I love it. No. On the hill. On the hill. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. And Viper senses this, and Viper just leaves the area.
Viper defensive castle there. Feels like both castles could go up. Viper sends more, but Winchester started a bit earlier.
Yeah, also Viper getting Bod Canero, which will give his castle extra range. Also, he's making some skirms, so it'll affect the skirms, of course. And Vinch thinks twice about it, and Vinch is going to bail on this castle. Or no, he's just repositioning the vills. My bad.
But is that enough? Can the castle range the vills?
I think it can with Bodkin. Oh, no. Oh no, now it's a 75% castle. And Nilly, if he completed this castle, he's in the perfect spot. Because he could then click up to Imp, and he could just push Viper with Trebs. Now, Vinchester's having some problems, and he has to decide on what he does here. He's just gonna drop another one right behind it. He just bought more stone. That looks so ridiculous. And he still clicks up to Imp. Oh, that's funny.
So what a weird choice. You said he couldn't contest the relic because he didn't have enough army. But apparently he felt like he had enough army to build a forward castle into the face of the Viper?
Yeah, the thing is, I don't know what's more important. Or no, sorry, I do know what's more important. I think it's better to give Viper the relic and take the hill, as opposed to take the relic and give Viper the hill. My issue is Viper just defended from that so perfectly, and was able to delay it at least temporarily. So Winchester loves his forward positions. He's just got to make sure that he doesn't lose these villagers to this castle. He would need some forward vills here.
Oh, TC's not focusing on vills. Castle will go up.
Oh my god. Like, should it not automatically aggro the vills here? It did before. Crazy.
Maybe it should. It certainly didn't.
Viper lost his knights, Nilly. Viper with 4 army. What a final this has been. Viper does have the greater economy, though. He's at 90 eco, also has the 3 relics. You see a university for him, so I think in the back of his mind, he's expecting more infantry. So he thinks he needs hand cannons and bomber cannons, which are great options with Lithuanians.
Huh. But it will take some time to get to those numbers.
True.
Chemistry has to be the first click once he gets in.
Really uncertain on if it was the move to take Viper's gold here if you're Winchester. He did lose 2 villagers there, I think, but I guess that's Viper's gold, and the more you take, if you lose the position, the less Viper will have. 8 on wood right now for Vinch. It's not a lot. I think he's making a new lumber camp, actually.
Oh yeah, he's sending 9 villagers there. Okay.
Hey, Kameyooks, Trebs, that's the plan for now. He does have forward castles, so if he loses these castles and he's committed towards Kameyooks, it could be a long-term issue for Vinch. But I think he just wants to get these castles up for Trebs. Chemistry takes a long time to complete for Viper.
I love that we're seeing masonry here.
Yep. It's a very good technology for Viper. But my issue for Viper is, if he's going to be going hand cannons, it's going to take a full 2 minutes to get any hand cannons out.
Yeah.
90 seconds for chemistry, and then he needs to produce the hand cannons.
Yeah, but is he getting threatened really right now? Like the hand cannons, he's not really fighting, right? There are some raids, but he has enough TCs as well. I would have thought so at least, but Kameyooks, they're just going straight through the TC.
Yeah, well, it's good thinking from Vinch, because he realizes the guy doesn't have anything, and he knows that he's going to be trebbing down Viper's castle. And Viper's rams are not going to accomplish anything here, except for maybe baiting some of that infantry into the castle fire while it still stands.
Uh-oh. Latest shouldn't really get too much done either. And Trap not in the greatest position at the top. Viper loses that castle. Castle of Winchester still up. The hand cannoneers kind of have to be the heroes.
Yeah, they do. And hand cannons should be good, but the problem with hand cannons is that they're very slow and they are still low HP. I'm looking at these Kameyooks melt everything, and I feel like Kameyooks, if they get close enough to the hand cannons, could probably kill them too. And we know Vinch has the castles now. And Vinch sees the other castle from the Viper too, and that's bad for Viper. He was hoping that would not be spotted. Winchester with so much pressure here. 20 population lead. He's denied gold. He's denied stone. He's taken out castles, and he's looking for more. What a great spot for the Russian to be in.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hand cannoneer numbers now at 8. He's producing some more, but not the easiest defense. Finally, bombard cannons. Maybe another siege workshop in the main base of the Viper could have been nice as well to snipe the traps of Vinch.
Did Vinch get redemption? Because I see he's getting monk upgrades with block printing. If he has redemption, he's just expected this and can counter this perfectly. He needs to save the monks, though. If he could save the monks, he could convert the bomber cannons with redemption. No! No! He lost all but one, and now redemption's on the way. And Viper could actually push up this hill now What is this game, Nilly? Viper's population's at 130. He's still repairing the castle. He might take out Vinch's castle. He does. Sick performance from Viper now.
Viper's holding this castle potentially. Maybe Winchester's even focusing away from it. What? He's now trying to kill the main TC instead of the castle.
Maybe he realizes that he wants to at least destroy something before he loses the position, Nilly. This is Winchester giving up on the hill. He should probably run away with those trebs now. And Redemption just a few seconds too late, and Winchester's castle will fall after that volley. Wow, dude. Wow, what a game this is. I cannot believe this. The monk gets killed off. Hand cannon, bombard cannon, OP for the Viper.
And one converted Kamayuk for the Viper, now dealing with those traps, actually. Trap repairs coming in, but Viper has such a good army. We need to see the transition Winchester is going for elite skirmishes.
Yeah, I mean, throughout that entire time, Winchester has been correcting his eco. Right? He's got really good eco now. He can go into skirm, which is the counter to the hand cannons. But I think this has been the most impressive game of the weekend for me, for both players. This has been exceptional. How Viper didn't lose more to that, I'll never know. I think those 4 monks, man, if Redemption would have been in a little faster, maybe it would have made all the difference. But now if you're Vinch, you can't commit to Kamayuk. You're going into skirms because you have to. And Viper should be thinking about how to deal with the skirms. Could easily see Viper go for something like Hussar here.
Yeah, feels very reasonable. Remember, he still has 3 relics, so in the long run, Cavaliers might be an option. The big question is that maybe over gold investment?
Yeah, true. I mean, he's got 32 on gold. Maybe he just he's honestly queuing up skirms. Maybe he matches the Inca skirms with his own skirms. That's really smart, to be honest, because Lithuanian skirms are the superior skirmishers.
Lithuanian skirms? Oh, well, don't... what's the... Oh, no minimum range for skirms is the upgrade, right?
Oh, that's true. So Incas would have no minimum range for their skirms, and then Lithuanians would have extra armor.
Yeah, I think I prefer extra armor.
Yeah, and the speed as well would be very helpful. So it seems like Viper right now is going to be grouping his skirms with his bombard cannon. So they'll probably run at the same speed. Oh, there we go, Vinch. That's what he needed.
Oh, but it lost it instantly. Couldn't get a shot off.
He doesn't have stone either, Nilly. But he does have another monk. And he does have good skirm upgrades. Viper's got to be a little careful here. The treb's going to be the hardest thing to deal with if you're Winchester. You can't convert a treb from range, and you see the monk go down. Well played, Viper. As you have Kamayuks on Viper's gold. Oh my god. That is a lot of exposed villagers. Tell me Viper's going to notice that.
Well, at some point he will. Okay, now he's pulling the villagers, but lots and lots of losses there for sure. Now some upgrades there for his horses. Viper is doing a nice job of expanding. Still 1 bombard cannon, 1 trap. The castle is falling.
Yep, castle will go down, and the monk unable to get the important conversion. Another monk goes down. Vinch has more vills, Nilly, but Vinch is struggling to get military to deal with Viper's composition right now. And also, some of the military for Vinch, which is very low in numbers, is actually the Kamayuks. So the guy just has not been able to get the skirm numbers out. And if there's still bombard cannons out, bombard cannons will take care of the skirms.
And now more archery ranges, but those are kind of being built where the Viper already has his army. It's tougher to get the numbers then if you can't really reproduce in the back of your base.
There's also been a few instances, and he just fixed it now, where Vinch hasn't even had army in queue. Like, he does have good farm count and good wood count. He should have consistent skirms in queue right now. Viper's been a little slow to reinforcements. It's just been this army, and now maybe Viper's dealing with some other things, and you're going to see his reinforcements come forward. But he's taking losses. He's falling back. Viper now getting cav armor. It's 160 pop versus 160 pop. I hope the game continues to be like this, but Nilly, truthfully, this is the best game of the weekend for me. It is shaping up to be a sick 1v1 game.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's see what the army composition is going to be here. Viper, only 39 farmers. Not really the numbers that we want to see from a player that is thinking about Hussars now.
Vinch with 11 vills in queue at 140 vills, but he's about to lose some.
Okay.
So I guess that works out. And Vinch losing villagers in the north as well. Viper's keeping an eye on that gold. And now we have Elite Eagle, an upgrade that I kind of missed being researched earlier because we were just talking about skirms and hand cannons. Vinch looking to raid and Viper noticing it wonderfully. Just house walling and trying to buy himself some time for the hand cannons.
Yeah. And indeed, that's what he is doing. Winchester's population looking better. Relic still incredibly even. And when it came to the extra goals, both of them contested in the north and in the south.
Viper is banking so much gold right now. He is a greedy boy. 2k gold, 25 on gold with the 3 relics. And I guess he'll be spending gold on bomber cannons, hand cannons, but no sign that he'll even consider Cavalier. The Lithuanians do get winged hussar, so they can go from light cap to winged hussar as an extra trash option.
Could be nice. Remember, no last attack upgrade when it comes to the melee units for Lithuanians. Since one of the last balance patches as well. So, not the craziest unit ever. Hussars still missing as an upgrade.
I think one of the weaknesses of Incas is just that they don't get hussars. They don't get stables. Look at the resources for Vinch. He needs to stop making fills.
Oh,
I'm gonna add more barracks now, but I'm just thinking, what does Vinch go for here that he's not already doing? Kamyuk is a bad choice because he doesn't have castles. Eagles, probably your best choice, but that's a lot of resources to work with. He's even getting guilds so he can sell resources at the market and get more gold in return. Holy cow.
Yeah, you have to love it. By the way, the Viper went for herbal medicine, something I don't really understand. Do you think maybe Lytis might be the play here with all that gold that the Viper is getting?
It would be a very Viper thing to gain advantages with this army and trash army for the next 5-10 minutes and then finish off the game with the gold army. So maybe. I don't foresee Viper doing anything too different right now. He does have winged hussar in. I honestly think winged hussar and hand cannon is really, really strong. I mean, he's mopping up these eagles. The pierce army that the eagles have doesn't matter against hand cannons. And plus, Vinch doesn't have real opportunities to raid because Viper's got really good defensive castles. And Viper's even going to add another castle here towards the south. Look at Vinch's army, Vinch's eco, sorry. There's hussars running right in right now. Vinch is going to struggle to defend from this.
Oh yeah, that's going to be lots of dead villagers. That was kind of the end in the Viper versus Jordan game as well. Suddenly pop 200 and then full spam of light cav and Jordan dropped down to pop to 120.
And this is the moment that I thought we wouldn't arrive to for another 10 minutes. Like Viper getting good value from the trash army. Now Nilly, I could see those castles producing some latest, certainly.
He has so much gold. I think, yeah, maybe just control more hussars, put them out on the field, make sure that your opponent is not getting onto too much of an army that could potentially kill your lightest army at one point.
Yep. And Latis or Lightus, whatever, they're better against Hab or against like melee units than Paladin would be. Paladin is better against the range units because they have extra pierce armor, but Viper's just everywhere nearly. He's raiding in the south, he's raiding in the north. Vinch's pop is not bad, but the positioning is he reacts time and time again here. He did get fabric shield, so he now has additional armor for his eagles. Just not sure if eagles are really the unit, as the hand cannons are still looming large for Viper in the south.
Viper's just so good at controlling this, and now he has control over both gold spots, or both additional ones, something that Winchester doesn't like. Tries to send 3 eagles, Viper instantly reacts, and Hussar's finding more and more kills.
Okay, Viper has a siege tower either in queue or on the map. I'm trying to figure it out. It must be in queue somewhere. Yeah, he has a siege tower coming out of the middle siege workshop. I'm very curious to see what Viper will do with that. As he denies that castle, but only temporarily.
What's the waypoint? I don't even know.
I imagine it's a misclick, but I'm not certain. Like, do you put hand cannons inside the siege tower and go over the wall? I'd laugh if he siege towers over the stone wall at the edge of the map. It just ends up next to the palisade wall.
Maybe he falls off the map.
I don't know. That could honestly be to soak up some arrow fire or some unit attack. But
aren't Rams better at that?
Probably a misclick, yeah.
That's a lot of eagles, though.
Yeah, lots of eagles, lots of bombard cannons. there's very few skirmishers here. So the hand cannons are going to eat his infantry for breakfast. But Vinch accepts that because Vinch just wants to force the units back. Great play from Vinch. If Vinch can take out the bomber cannons, he can take out the castle, and he's still alive in this game. As Viper sends busters into his eco again.
Oh, population was so bad behind this one. The Viper, he knew that this fight wasn't looking to be too bad because he knew the real story was in Winchester's eco.
Yeah, Vinchester saw the siege tower and tapped out. Yeah, I didn't realize Vinch's pop was so low there. I mean, I saw him at 100 fills, but he was at 50, 60 army. I guess his main force was that force diving on Viper's castle, and in the end, Viper still had a bomber cannon to snipe the trebs. And just didn't have defensive castles, and that was such an exceptional game, Nilly. Like, it definitely started to shift towards Viper after he cleaned up the push on the hill. But man, from Vinchester's defense in Feudal against Scout Skirm, which I thought would kill him on an awful map, to Viper recovering, and then Viper somehow pushing the double castle pushback. That was such a good game. Do you think that maybe if Redemption came in a minute or two earlier, Winchester saves the castles, or do you think it would only delay the inevitable and Viper would end up taking that hill?
Tricky questions. Like, you don't need to run into those conversions. I don't. It's so tough to judge. I think this scenario was just so aggressive. I think lacking masonry really hurt him.
Yeah.
And yeah, where could he really jump? I don't think Redemption would have changed too much. But I don't have a better answer for Vinch.
But even though Winchester lost, I think his approach of going forward castle was the play. Because if you sit back with defensive castles and you can't spam hussars like Lithuanians can, I think it's a losing battle, usually. And also, if you think about how good Viper played the semifinal in the Britain Khmer game with sitting back defensively in post-imp, that would be another reason why I'd say Vinch would want to avoid that. So Vinch just played that so well, and he ends up not getting the win. Viper looking to be in the driver's seat here, up 3-1. It is a best of 9, of course. So Viper would have to win 2 more games of a potential 5 more games. But, man, I hope every game we see, whoever wins or loses, I don't care. I just want every game to be like that one. That had everything.
Yeah, it was a really good game of Age of Empires. We had the nice early aggression, Winchester squeezed out the fast castle, and then the lots of aggression. The fight for the relic, nice aggressive mid game, super aggressive move by Vinch, and a nice end game. I like the story.
And then also a siege tower for the right? Like Viper with an exceptional game, and then a bunch of people are gonna be like, he, siege tower. What was that? You know? Gotta love it, dude. Gotta love it. 3-1 for Viper. Hey, Nilly, I'm gonna mute real quick. I'll be back in just a minute. We can talk about the next games. All right?
Okay.
Cool.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're enjoying the show. We had lots of subs flying in. Bengal, Pavan, Maxe, Dignitas, Funzin, Tofios, Fred, No to War always. Thanks for your subs. Great custom with T90, great games. Appreciate it. Thank you. Enjoying it a lot. Nice. Who's better, Neely or T90? In table tennis, it's me. Sonics, thanks for the prime as well. How do you win against Siege Tower? I've never seen Siege Tower lose. We clearly need to change something in the balance there. Feels way too strong. I was here trolling old playing too much A4 because of making that Siege Tower. Certainly. Are you organizing a King of the Hippo tournament? I'm actually starting to think about it. Or not, like... I had plans with my girlfriend, but some of them moved. I'm honestly considering like 28th, 29th of December. Something that I'm considering. The Saracen game? Don't see a clear shift choice considering what Vinch has left. Maybe. I think Saracens could make sense, yeah. How do you meet your girlfriends? Basically Tinder. The website is called, or the app is called Bumble. It's basically Tinder, but girls have to write first. What is King of the Hippo? An FFA tournament. We already had like eight editions of those. I have 8 qualifiers, 8 players every single time, and the 8 winners will face each other. Winner gets $200, and it's always a monument in the center that we fight for. How long does major tournament usually take to plan? Ooh, I think like NAC 3.
Already, Nilly.
I said I
see the
planned
game is
600
launched.
hours.
I see the Civ matchup, and I'm really curious on how Viper is going to deal with this matchup.
Okay, I didn't look at it yet. Like, we were speculating that it could have been Saracens.
Ooh, you think Saracens for Viper? Okay, I think that's not a bad guess.
Okay, now I'm seeing the civilizations, yeah.
Tricky Civ matchup for the Viper, right? Because Byzantines for Vinchester and Viper having Japanese. I feel like the only bonuses that Japanese have over Byzantines would be the cheaper mills, mining camps, and lumber camps. But beyond that, Byzantines could do everything the Japanese can do or better.
How good are Samurai against Cataphracts?
Samurai get wrecked by Cataphracts. However,
Oh, really?
Samurai do have a weird bonus where they have a bonus against other unique units. So, yeah. But another thing to say is that Elite Cataphract is a lot more expensive.
Yeah. True to get there, yeah.
There is that time window where maybe Viper could go Samurai, but I'm thinking both have full upgrades on skirms and archers, but Byzantine skirms are cheaper. Byzantines get siege ram, Japanese get only capped ram. Byzantines get bombard cannon, Japanese do not get bombard cannon. Honestly, even if it goes into Hussar, Byzantines get Hussar, Japanese only get light cav without the final armor. It just feels like a sick matchup for Winchester to maybe get a win here.
Well, I would not mind that at all. Obviously, a strong opening for Japanese could be men-at-arms followed by some skirmishes, lots of aggression, but we've seen the Viper failing with that yesterday.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, we are getting ahead of ourselves, but that's kind of the job of a caster, you know? If we just sat here and talked about the present, Dark Age would be a little boring. So, Winchester, with a pretty good civ in our assessment, but Viper is the king of knowing his time windows, Nilly. Whether the time window is Dark Age, Feudal Age, Castle Age, Post-Imperial Age, he normally finds that time window. And I think that time window's got to be early Feudal here, with some heavy Feudal Age pressure, just to stop Byzantines before Byzantines get rolling.
I'm just imagining like how a casting would work if you only talk about the present. Like not even anticipating, like maybe they're not taking a boar. Maybe if you're assuming nothing, like though, oh okay, Viper built 2 houses. Oh okay, builds an 8th villager now.
Oh wow, Viper's got 2 yellow carpets and 2 red carpets next to his TC.
Okay.
Oh god,
Builds
that's basically
lumber
what
camp.
Lowy the Legend is, by the way.
Okay.
Because in Lowy the Legends, you never know what people are gonna do. You don't know if they'll create villagers or forget to create villagers or make houses or make mills or lumber camps.
What's your typical feudal age time in Lowy Legends?
I guess I can't say it depends. I mean, if we're talking the true Lowy the Legends,
The true, like less than
500.
600. Okay.
Yeah, let's say 500 elo. Feudal age time is probably like 13 and a half, 14 and a half minutes.
Okay. Pop 20?
And that can depend, but I would say a little, maybe even a little higher than that.
Okay.
And then they typically just like click all the upgrades that they know exist, and they don't really wall or they don't really make any military, and then eventually Castle Age comes in, and that could be like 24, 25 minutes. That's like if there was a low elo meta, that would be it. But certainly.
And you're doing this for a living.
Yeah, it's so fun, dude. It's amazing. It's so much more fun than having 1 scout rush in an entire weekend. I'm kidding. I actually love. If I had to choose between high level Age of Empires and Lowy the Legends, I would probably choose high level Age of Empires. But it's good to have.
Why aren't you hosting show matches Tuesdays then?
You mean like low elo show
No,
matches?
just high-level show matches on Tuesdays.
Well, because variety is the spice of life.
Oh.
If I only ate pizza, then pizza would not be as good as pizza is if I have pizza once a week.
Okay,
It's
okay, I
the
can
same
see that.
if-
That's why
if
I
I
never
had-
have sex. Because then, if I once have sex, it could be good.
I'm sure that's the reason why, right? Yeah, the reason is just to make sure that very good thing is quite as good as we go forward, right?
That's also why I've never won an Age of Empires tournament. To make the first time feel even more special.
See, Nilly, as someone who's actually won an S tier Age of Empires tournament, I can tell you that I would love to win another one, and it feels fantastic. And I'm sure that I would win, or I would feel great if I won every tourney, much like Viper has over his career. But this is how we made Dark Age interesting. But Vinchester going for his barracks again, and Vinchester's going to send militia forward. Viper went mill first, and this barracks timing tells me it could be men-at-arms, but also he's Japanese, and this timing is slightly earlier than you could afford with any other civ.
Okay, okay. So, aggression to be expected, but Vinch is walling off. Will have quite reasonable berries. Woodline? He went for the more exposed one instead of the one next to the berries.
Yeah, I see that. Interesting choice there from the Viper. Probably expecting that he's going to be going for more lumber camps here. And Viper is going to do exactly what I feel is best here. Early feudal pressure. Byzantines do not have any eco bonuses. So Viper already taking advantage of the bonuses that we think will separate him from the Byzantines. Saving 150 wood on these eco buildings, and he's on his way up. And honestly, this could be man-at-arm into Archer, but it also could just be a very fast Archer opening.
Okay, I'm curious to see what we will have here. Viper? Okay, now queues a militia. Huh.
Someone said someone should host a tournament with casters only. Finals between Nilly and T90 would be interesting. That would just, I have one tournament win that's S tier, and I will not be involved in that because I want to hold that over Nilly for the rest of his life. Nilly would beat me, guys. Actually, right now, I have a little bit more of a chance.
I think right now is your best chance ever. Probably.
Yeah. Yep.
Probably ever, yeah.
So anyways, on that note, since you're in charge of tournaments and whatnot, I'm thinking I want to host an event next weekend. What do you think about that?
What kind of event?
1v1 event with some up-and-coming players who are pretty good, but not quite good enough to get into the top 20, top 30.
Okay, so without me.
All right. Well played. Viper hits feudal, gets some hits there on the scout. And he did make the militia, so the men-at-arms are running forward. Vinchester's scout has been tagging along with his militia. There's a chance that Vinchester won't know this is coming, but holy great walls of Russia over here from Vinch. What in the world is this?
Fast
To
in.
make sure with the palisade.
Militia.
Oh, God.
Could they squeeze through there? No, they can't.
Viper even lost half of his HP there. He could debate on canceling men-at-arms if he didn't get his wood upgrade, but I think he's able to squeak by here. But Vinchester with good defensive plays here. I think he recognizes how this matchup will go, Nilly. He just has to keep himself in this one.
Okay. Well, militia doing quite a lot of damage against the house. Look at how fast it's losing HP. And that is with extra HP for Byzantines. I'm not even sure if one village is enough to repair.
I'm with you on that. He will get more HP soon. No, it's going to go down. And no, Vinchester! Oh, man, just add a couple extra houses or maybe add some palisades there. This is what Viper needed. Viper kills the Vil. Off to a great start. And also will have some range units coming forward behind all this.
Oh, he's opening the vault? Oh, that's ballsy. Okay. Vinch not scared of those 3 men-at-arms on that woodline again. Anticipating the Viper to move around. And, well, he's doing exactly that.
Now, speaking of ballsy or gutsy moves, Viper's just going to place a mill on the hunt on the front. And he's just going to hope that Vinch doesn't notice that. Vinch has plenty of problems at home. And now, honestly, the palisade could go down pretty quickly as well to Japanese men-at-arms on the hill.
And skirms now being produced. One archer for the defense. Viper with a big aggression here. I love to see it.
Yeah. People in my chat are arguing over if I actually won an S tier tournament. Yes, it was a 10K tourney. It was Battle Royale, so no one really cares except for the winner. But technically.
And technically, I'm pretty sure that an S tier tourney is only non-invitation. You have to have qualifiers to have an S tier tourney.
Hidden Cup technically had an invitation, as did NAC.
No. Look, you have to have qualifiers. Like, it was invitation only.
Don't ruin my dream. Don't ruin my dreams. Just stop. Okay, let me think it.
Okay.
Let me think it. Winchester kills the archer, and now we could kill a villager from Viper. The Viper tried to do a lot right now, and I think this was risky. And if Winchester can get a Vil pick, as Winchester tries to block the quick wall, yeah, Winchester will like his position. He gets the Vil pick.
And all of a sudden, he is solid 2.5 villagers ahead here. Viper had so much idle time, tried to make so much happen here. With the, what was it, pop 23-minute arm play?
Oh my goodness, Nilly, look at Viper's idle TC time. 1 minute of idle TC time. So he's behind in villagers because he didn't create any. Now you've got the Byzantine player on skirms, you've got the Byzantine player walled, and this is the perfect scenario for Winchester.
Yeah, he has to love it. There's no way he will be broken. Look at that, he doesn't even bother to finish off that last minute arm.
Yeah. Maybe having mercy on him because he's feeling so confident at this point. I don't know, but I don't see a world where there's any bonus that looks good for Japanese from this point on in the game. Not saying that Viper can't win, because they're probably both going to play into some ranged units. Anything can happen. But in terms of bonuses, the eco bonuses for Viper are pretty much already been used. Granted, he still can make cheap lumber camps, but that's whatever. And then Byzantines are just all about the cheap units and the better units.
Winchester. Lots of success against Leary by going fast Imperial Age. Byzantines, arguably the best civilization at that.
Yep.
Will we see it again? So far, mainly skirms, not really the imp unit. But maybe if we'll see a transition into more crossbows later on.
Yeah, Viper, I think, kind of having to play by his reactions right now. And he expected the skirms. He did not get fletching. He now sees the skirms have arrived and he is to run away. Good job not losing any villagers. But now that scout gets hit by the cheap spearman. And great micro from Vinch there. That was so good from him.
Spearman's still full HP. And
yeah,
the second spearman is arriving as well.
And Viper won't have skirms pretty soon. Good job there from Vinchester. Great timing on everything here. This Viper has now invested food into scouts, and Viper's getting destroyed here. This is an awful position for Viper to be in.
Only now going for fletching. Viper truly in some problems, and this is, again, the Viper tried to play super aggressively, tried to play wild. This reminds me of his Bulgarian game against Jordan.
Yeah, a little bit. And maybe it's just not, like if you were to reverse roles, obviously Viper would probably excel, but I think Viper, as good as he is with everything, maybe he's just not the one to kill real fast in Feudal Age. He gets little advantages, stems that into later stages of the game, and he felt that pressure to not do what he needed to do so far in this game. It's so good from Vinch, I have to say, because I feel like that when that first spear came forward, it should have died, but he somehow kept that alive, and then it bought time for the second spear.
Yeah, really nice micro. Now skirms again going.
Oh my god, the hole's still at Vinch's base. You're kidding me. The hole is still at Vinch's base, where he didn't plug the gap. I don't know what's happening. No way.
I'm not sure either. Somehow it's open and the archers and scouts are in. Should be some dead villagers. Make it 2.
Oh man. I mean, Vinch still could be fine, as he always saves himself here, Nilly, with the good quick walls. But jeez, that was so avoidable for Winchester as he's on his way to Castle Age.
Third villager dies, and those low HP villagers are going back to work. No way!
Oh, wait. No, she won't survive. Viper will get her. And there's not another one. No way.
Another one.
That bothers me. I couldn't think of what to say. That brings me so much pain. Because Vinch had done everything right except for that hole in the wall. And now while Vinch is still in a good spot because he has the much faster castle age, he's given Viper a way back into this. Holy cow. That's got to be frustrating for Vinch. But a massive difference in uptimes here. Vinch is going to be up after 21 minutes. Viper will be up at like 24 minutes, which is remarkably slow.
Yeah, absolutely. And still no real control over his map. Look at that. It's like buildings everywhere. It looks a bit like an Empire Wars generation. Like so uncontrolled, no real proper base design. Just feels like he built the buildings not really for the long term, but just like, okay, I need them now.
Yep. Viper will see that stable. He's got an army of 1 scout and 5 skirms. So a single knight. I mean, even without the knight, Winchester can probably push that army because he has more ranged units. The Viper with the Vil lead, but Vinch also with the potential to always just add a second TC and catch up with Vils. I think Vinch will still be okay here, Nilly.
Viper not producing any army right now. I think we need to see more skirms from him. Otherwise, how does he think he can survive?
Have you ever seen Viper have 2.5 minutes of TC idle time in this type of a game?
It's crazy long, right? Like
That's minus 5 Vils, essentially.
Well, he is a guy who, on the top level, is someone who cuts some corners and is idling a bit more than, for example, Hera or Lyri that go for a TC and then think, okay, when can I squeeze in the upgrade? Sometimes the Viper is going, okay, I want Man-at-Arm now, I want Fletching now. But yeah, it's untypically high for sure.
I think maybe early feudal, but mid feudal, that was a bit tricky. I think maybe he was microing his archers when that happened. And TC goes up for Vinch. Vinch also pushing Viper off of gold, off of 2 wood lines. Viper running to the back of his base. Half his villagers are running right now. And what is Viper going to make here? Viper's going to go skirms. This is what we said. Skirms against Byzantines who have cheaper skirms. and the Byzantine player already has knights out.
6 skirms. Now 1 knight. It's not a scary army by the Viper. But Winchester's like group of skirms that are half dead. Aren't scaring me too much either.
Is this game perhaps a sign that maybe there's a bit of fatigue for the Viper at the moment? Or do you think it's just, yeah, Byzantines versus Japanese and the Civ matchup is too tough?
I think it's not fatigue. It's game 5. It's not the craziest games. And, well, the Viper tried to make something wild happen. He loves the controlled games. And this certainly was none of those.
Yeah. Now, there's not many crossbows here for Winchester, but he's going to loop in with his camels and knights. Also has the skirms on the other side. I mean, it's 19 military versus 7. And even that number of crossbows will end Viper's game if the skirmishers are not in the mix. And Viper skirms. Oh, and the crossbows get through. Oh, Viper skirmishers are not going to be enough here.
Only 2 knights, tries to micro them away. Viper basically no military left.
Yeah, and Vinch is on 2 town centers, producing villagers behind this, you've got to imagine. And Vinch very patient here. I like the patience. And he'll find the villagers here on the golds. And Winchester, thankfully for him, actually gets some redemption after that mistake. If that would have been a game-ending mistake, he would have been frustrated with himself.
Just think about how far ahead he was before that, right? That he loses 4 or 5 villagers there and still has such a massive army and castle age time advantage. And Viper, I'm surprised that he is trying to fight this one off still. It looks so bad for him, so much army in his face.
When I get tired and or frustrated, and this is the only reason I asked about the fatigue, I got like 6 different lumber camps, 3 different mining camps, and I'm constantly relocating vills. And even if I'm not losing them, I'm just like continuing to play because I think I'm fine to relocate. So that's why I had brought it up. It just still looks so messy. He's got no win condition if he just goes skirm, surely. But you know what? As I say that, he's got a decent number of them. He hasn't lost more villagers than Winchester. But I think he will in just a moment as the crossbows will hit the wood line on the other side.
Skirms are a good unit to defend, even against like camel crossbow composition. Now goes for another TC. More crossbows though, finding the kills, like you mentioned.
I love how Winchester has used this army in the back of Viper's base to buy him opportunity for the other army. If he would have just fought and died, then Viper would have never lost those villagers on the wood line. He would have never had to leave the wood line, delete another house, and have it be this messy. I also love the amount of units that Vinchester's making. He's making crossbows, he's making camels, and he's making skirmishers. So he really isn't letting Viper rest at all here, as he's still producing out of all of his TCs, but he does make a mistake. He runs underneath Viper's TC, and that's an army down for Vinchester.
Plus the other army is being lost as well. Camels went down there, crossbows will fall after it, and Viper with the military advantage, 12 villagers behind. Viper, I don't want to say he's still in this one, but I understand why he didn't resign.
Okay, yeah. Do you think there was a reason that we saw camels from Vinch? I think Viper made a knight or two. But do you think it's better to make camels because it's cheap with Byzantines, or maybe make a few knights? Because I think the knights would just do so much better against Viper's skirm play.
Yeah, I agree with that. Not sure what army he was expecting. Initially, obviously, he saw Viper going for some knights, and therefore camels made a lot of sense. Not that Viper is mainly on skirmishers. It feels like camels lose their value a bit.
I feel like Vinch's eco is going to have some problems here soon. He's going to have too much on gold. His wood efficiency is having some hard times. Viper on 2 TCs. I'm with you, Nilly. I could definitely see a world where Viper could maybe start pushing out across the map. And someone had said over here is like, Viper's so good with comebacks. Good on him for staying in this. See what he can do here in this matchup.
Okay, crossbow skirm for the Viper. He's going for some upgrades, but obviously Mangonel's pretty solid against that.
Yeah. My issue with Vinch right now is just that he doesn't seem to know what to make. He's making skirms, crossbows, mangonels, and camels. And I think honestly, if he would have just committed to double range skirms and crossbows with ballistics, he probably would have been fine. But the camels kind of sprinkled in, the siege kind of sprinkled in. He doesn't really seem to know what he wants to make, but man, is his position still really strong.
Mangonel losing some HP. The Viper is trying to cut reinforcement, knowing that he can't really take the fight against the Mangonel. But that's what he thinks, but actually he's doing quite well. Winchester really sloppy with his Mangonel at the front.
Yeah, he's trying to do third TC now on the woodline and the stone. Vinch maybe flirting with the idea of Imp. But Vinchester's army can't really push into Viper's base, and this is what Viper needs. He knows he's behind, but he knows he needs to try and do some type of counterattack. Ballistics on the way too, Nilly, so there's plenty of opportunity with the ranged units on the field for the Viper, but just not too many areas to hit for him right now as he chooses to maybe turn around and mop up Vinch's army that's coming home.
Well, but we are going on the way to Imperial Age. Winchester, if he gets Bracer, the Viper's army won't do too well. Trying to chase this army down, though. The Viper's still lacking ballistics, and I think he will be surprised by the early Imp by Winchester.
Yeah. Just go 3 or 4 range skirms at this point. Just skirm arbalest. Of course, a future castle, bombard cannons, maybe rams could be helpful, but when you have this big of an eco lead and you're on 3 TCs, the only way you lose this game is if you don't mass enough skirms, if you're Vinch. And Vinch is going to try and hold to the hill. Oh, man. There's a chance that Viper could do this. There's a slight chance Viper could maybe do this. No ballistics for Vinchester right now, Nilly. And he's behind in the numbers.
Second siege workshop. Viper trying to dodge this. Knight could maybe go. No, he won't go anywhere. Mangonel hits have to be crucial.
There have been some really big hits so far. And I also like how his ranged army's been able to get away. Winchester evening the numbers. Should get another volley off at least. And yeah, Viper doesn't have a crucial area of Vinch's eco to hit with this army. And he also can't hit the force from Vinch. Great job from Vinch, who's still only on 2 ranges, though.
Ooh,
only 2 ranges seems really bad.
And one of them is super exposed. Will be interesting. Mangonel now popping. Viper will get the kill. Nice one.
Winchester, you got to be careful now. Moving out with that army. He's going to try and get behind Viper, I guess, and trap him. Bracer. He's getting Arbalest, Bracer, and Ballistics. Good upgrades here. Viper also distracting the farming eco. Viper's eco isn't looking too hot either. Only 16 on food. He's got a lot on gold. 24 on gold. As I guess he's just doubling down on the siege, and he's going to test Vinchester's micro here, Nilly.
Winchester stood a lot of tests this game. Bracer finished, Arbalest will finish as well, and then Castle Age Army, rarely good choice.
Yep, and then Vinchester showing you that. So, it's been a little dicey. It's been a little messy for Vinchester. But he is here. He is in the Imperial Age, and he still has an eco lead, and now he has the tech lead, though not a numbers lead. I think he's just going to wait, be patient. There are the ranges. He's been so far ahead in this game, Nilly. Hasn't been as clinical as maybe we expected, but I think there's no doubt in my mind anyways he will end up pushing Viper back here. I mean, Viper could go for a defensive castle. Oh!
Ooh.
Viper with a big shot. Wow, why did Vinchester move into that? He was using his range so nicely.
Oh,
Just allowed a big headshot for the Viper.
Oi, oi, oi. Maybe another shot even?
Oh, another headshot. And he can get another volley?
Goes for the mega ult. Delete! Double kill!
Oh my god, Vinch. You can't keep letting him get away with this. He's got 16 army in Imp. Viper has double the army now. And Viper continues to send forward more siege. And I think Vinch will be distracted and even lose this. Loses a few more units to Castle Age Siege. Now he's splitting. He sees microing now. There you go.
Okay.
Well played, Vinchester. Who does have to clear up Viper's raiding force in the north now. Or I guess the east.
Let's see how he tries to do that. Obviously, Skirm Arbalest should be fine, especially if Viper would be sitting on the TC, but sits out of range for now.
Yeah. Remember, the Arbs and Skirms for Vinch have more range than Viper's army, so even with lesser numbers, you should push that. It's kind of why we've been expecting Viper to die. And yeah, Viper's going to go tower defense now.
I like
But
that.
bomber cannons are already out for Vinchester.
Ooh. Okay, then the question is, Arga Tower is going to be the answer there. Obviously against Arbalest, a good option. Once Bombards out.
Once bomber cannons come out, you start to have a lot of questions. Vinch could just be going skirms here. He seems to be making a lot of Arbs. Arbs is fine too. I guess the eco has been so messy. This game overall for both players has been the messiest of the series.
Oh yeah, probably. Well, both kind of wanted it like that, right? But with lots of aggression. Now sends villagers in to kill the bombard cannons. What are we witnessing?
Well, we have villagers to repair the bomber cannons too, so it's a party.
Okay.
That's funny. Viper 90 vills. And now the military count's even, but you have more eco for Vinch. And you have Imp army for Vinch. Viper is pretty dead. Still no Imperial Age for him. And Vinch is gonna drop a castle right on Viper's face as he's trying to go to Imp.
Viper heavily using the market. Will try to click up to Imp as well. Got our defense towards the top, but that castle is just going to be so good.
Yeah, and how do you stop it? Can you stop it? Mangonel goes down, so that won't work. Bombard Cannon will just take out Viper's town centers beneath it. He's got 2 TCs beneath it, not to mention the farms and the wood and the gold. Bombard Cannons can't be stopped. And finally, Vinch, he's had time to breathe, and so he just keeps sending units forward. And it was a messy game. Very messy game. But Vinchester gets the win, and it is 3-2 here in the finals. Viper just unable to really execute in Feudal Age in this game, Nilly.
Yeah, just fell behind the Men-at-Arms. Although they distracted a bit, slowed down the Viper so much behind this one as well. And yeah, we're often talking like how efficient Men-at-Arms are. Because, yeah, you get onto a lot of food, get your farm eco set up, and then we go into archers. But the Viper, we tried to go early Men-at-Arms, skirm follow-up, didn't really have the farms, and Winchester with a clean defense. Although we had some hiccups, obviously.
Yeah, of course. And I think Vinchester had the matchup to help in some of those hiccupy moments. Like, if you lose those vills, and you're going up towards Castle Age, and the civs are more even, I think you're starting to feel a sense of dread. But instead, he took advantage. Now, Nilly, tell me if you relate to this. Everyone's different, so I'm not sure. I want to make sure that I'm not the only one.
Okay.
Let's say you play 3 or 4 really clean games.
Yeah.
Win or lose, doesn't matter, but really clean games where you don't have any mental fog and everything's good.
Okay, never happened,
Then you
but
have
I
one
try
game.
to. Yeah, okay.
You try. I know, I do too. But then you have one game where it's like super messy, holes in walls, kind of scatterbrain, awkward, just like that one. I think both players had a messy game. Can you just snap out of it when you get into the next game and go right back into that clean, crazy precision? Or does your mind kind of stay in that fog that existed in the previous game?
It depends a bit on like how I screwed up, right? If it was like a bad Civ matchup and I tried to make something happen, it's way easier to forget about that game and jump into the next one compared to, okay, I played a clean game, but somehow everything felt off.
Okay. Well, in my eyes, there was some things off there economically for both players. Like that was sloppy for both players. So I wanted to bring that up before the next game because it's just an interesting thing that we need to touch on. The mental aspect is so huge in sports, but also esports, and I think the fatigue maybe will be setting in a little bit as we go deeper into the series. But truthfully, it hasn't really been the longest set of games. We've had a few go to Imp, but a lot end in Castle Age too.
Yeah, and also remember, it's right now they only played 5 games, right? They started early in the day. It's not crazy. Although, like, when did we start this? We started like 3 hours ago, right?
Yeah, 3 hours ago.
Okay, for 5 games in, it's not that short either.
Yeah, of course. For me, it says 2 hours, 50 minutes, and we had like the draft as well, so I don't know. But yeah, I think when I hit 3 hours playing, that's when I start to dip a little bit. I just wanted to ask you on how you feel. Everyone's different. Like MBL can play game 1 the exact same way he plays game 25, because he just has a lot of stamina. Some players are like that. Some players are not.
Yeah. Well, Viper had lots of best of 7s in his lifetime. Some sets were even longer. Remember, you cast a set of his best of 11, and he still made it happen. But we had a break in that one.
Oh, they did do like a halftime break for the best of 11, yeah.
Yeah. Like best of 11 and best of 13, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you and I have had this conversation. I think we are in different mindsets on this. I think best of 9 for Arabia is probably fine, but I would never go over best of 9 personally as a tournament host. I think that going over that is just excessive, and it increases the quantity of games, but it does not increase the quality of games, and it does not help you determine a winner. I think best of 9 for Arabia is fine. If it's non-Arabia, I personally would stay with my best of 7s.
Okay. Yeah, I think my NAC approaches were a bit wild there. Half times at least, but yeah. That's kind of like the tournament organizer trying to squeeze everything. Like, viewers are tuning in for the finals, but are viewers really turning into 6-hour finals and watch it the whole time?
No, I mean, it's funny, though, because the game runs a lot smoother now. We have less lag, and we also have... I think it's fair to say less drops and less restores than we did before the definitive edition ever came out.
Yeah.
But really long best of 5s, best of 7s were more common back in the day because we had restarts. And restarts meaning you don't like your map? Well, before 5 minutes, you can call restart. And then you go back to the lobby. And then Doubt has to go smoke shisha for 5 minutes before they restart it. And you'd be sitting there half your day almost if you were playing best of 5s and best of 7s. So it feels like we have maybe longer sets with gameplay, but less downtime and less other shenanigans.
We had best of 9 finals with like both teams having 3 restarts. I remember that was the WSVG cast, I believe. But yeah, on the it was like Nations Cup finals, Canada versus China, I think before WSVG or something like that. And I think it took 7.5 hours to finish.
And imagine 7.5 hours for what, like 500 viewers?
Yeah, well, on good days, yeah, 500,
days,
400,
right?
Something like that, yeah.
And I'm not at all saying that you should compromise on good tournament settings for viewers, because I think you can have good tournament settings and they have good viewers. But like, on paper, that just seems so crazy, what we did back then, man.
Also 10-minute spec delay, holy moly.
Yeah, 10 minutes spec delay, oh god. Woo! All right. Well, maybe we'll have to sit down and just talk about the good old days sometimes and put that into a video. But we have
Maybe
this
one
game.
day.
Maybe one day. We haven't been around long enough yet. Sicilians for Vinchester and Tatars for Viper. Ooh, boy. Fun Civ matchup here, Nilly. And it always is interesting when you've got the Sicilians involved.
Someone wise yesterday said that Sicilians are being played against best if you just go for strong gold units.
Yep.
And Tatars.
Someone very wise.
Very, very wise. Yeah. And I think Tatars should shine at that. We've often seen them go for lots of CA, seen them for maybe go Knights, maybe go Kashik. So I think this could potentially be one of the weaker matchups for Sicilians.
Yep. No, I can agree with you on that. Yeah, I mean, the logic is everyone talks about how you counter the Sicilians because you can't make things like Elite Skirm. You can't make Pikemen be as effective with any bonus damage. So simply don't play into bonus damage at all. Just go for the kill. And also, in terms of the approach, Nilly, Tatars are a very all-in civ as is. You tend to see fast ballistics behind the free thumb ring for their archers. And then on this map, you've got hills everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You can do 25% more damage on the hill. As Viper's going to try and steal some goats here. This is crucial. Oh, God. How does this play out?
The goat trying to get the 3 goats here. Tries to go on the hill. Maybe he could split them around. He wants to take the fight from the hill. Goes for that goat now again.
Kill the goat. Oh, God. This is crazy.
And yeah, just splits them. And talking about hill bonus, right? Typically in Age of Empires you get 25%. But it has another additional 25% points. But obviously minus 50% from Sicilians. So Tatars doing 37.5%.
Wait a second. The Sicilian resistance to bonus damage applies to the Tatar hill bonus? I thought it just applied to units.
I'm pretty sure that's a bonus damage.
I mean, I guess that makes sense, but I never thought about it.
I'm 37.5% sure.
Okay. All right, I'll take that. The timing on Vinchester's elephant was perfect. And if Viper brings these goats back, and it looks like he will successfully, he gets 50% more food on his goats. It's funny, I have 2 people responding. One person says Nilly's wrong, the other person says Nilly's right.
Oh boy. Thanks, Mom.
Oh, jeez. Well, map-wise, you've got a very forward gold for the Viper. So another reason to be offensive, but he has a gold in the back as well to use. Map for Vinchester, I could see being awkward with the forward berries in the hill, but I'm sure he'll like the back woodline and the gold. So as far as map gens go, pretty fair, pretty standard stuff.
Okay, now someone needs to go into the editor and please tell us.
Yeah, this is where, honestly, T-West is probably listening, and he's like, all right, I'm just going to make a video about this, because it's a really interesting thing.
Nah, I think it's too basic, right? It's like one question.
So
Don't
maybe, like...
Would be like, the mystery of hill bonuses would be a video, and then that would...
There's other examples to that, too, right? Like, I'm sure that the hill bonus for Tatars is one aspect of the video, and then you have regular hill bonus is one aspect of the video, but that's not bonus damage, so maybe not. I think he could maybe think of some other examples. I'm being told the video's already been made, and Spirit of the Law confirmed that Sicilian bonus does not affect hill bonus.
I have one saying, I saw the Spirit of the Law video, and Neely is 100% right. Oh, chat is so dumb.
Oh, God. This is amazing. Ooh, man, this community's so smart. I love it.
At least 50% of them.
Yeah, but
at least 37.5% of them.
Oh, God. Oh, there goes Finch on the way up. I mean, this is really what makes Age of Empires amazing, though. The fact that we, Nilly, not that we are the supreme leaders when it comes to knowledge, but we don't even know 100% on some of these things.
Yeah, I only know 37.5% of the game.
Is that a new thing? We have 7 out of 10 and now 37.5%. Are those the memes?
Only for this game.
Okay, perfect. It probably would get boring after this game. The Viper later, much later, through the feudal age, but that's because he's got the Drush here. And Viper trying to get that Vil, is using the hill bonus. May or may not have more or less damage output, but kills the villager. I think that's the first time we've seen a 2 militia Drush kill a Vil in this final. And Winchester getting a taste of his own medicine, and that hurts, man.
Oh, tricky stuff. Scout only 35 HP here as well. And Viper now clicks up to Feudal Age himself. We'll get some nice control. And one of the few games where Winchester didn't open with the Drush.
Spirit of the Law should do math on what percentage of the time casters are correct about stats.
Oh no.
Don't give him ideas. Well, Nilly, this is a prime example of how going scouts can be punished on this open map. Like, he could have pre-walled it, of course. Probably could have done a better job scouting. But the 2 militia thing just allows you to have a little bit of extra control before the feudal age shenanigans start. And Viper will be happy here. He will know that this will probably be a scout build from Vinchester, but he's got a little bit of walling completing in the south. And he'll probably just go into some spearmen and some archers. That said, he hasn't gone to gold yet. And you probably need to make a few extra spearmen when you're up against the Sicilians.
Yeah. Or you just wall because you think, okay, my spearmen will be weaker. And the Viper is sending 3 on gold. Maybe just an archer defense here and won't care about that one too much. Maybe just 1-2 spearmen for the very early aggression.
Vinch will see this. Vinch sees the woodline. He was so late to scouting Viper's eco. Good job here, being annoying. Viper should start to place some walls if he's expecting the scouts. Actually, no, I think the timing is going to work out. And this is really why you see the 2 militia play over the 3. Because if he added the 3rd militia, he would have spent a little bit more food, would be a little later to feudal age. And then these 2 scouts would be arriving. There'd be no spearmen, so that's why the meta changed. Do you think the meta will shift back to 3 militia on, like, non-King of the Desert versions of Arabia?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think people... I think the map didn't really make a big difference in this. I think it's a bit the wall thing.
Yeah, the walls, I think, yeah. Okay, just curious. Viper with 5 military, only 2 for Vinch. But Vinch did get his wood and farm upgrade, so his eco's going to be looking pretty. You get plenty of food on the Sicilian farms, 300 plus on each farm. And he's adding a range at home to go into some skirms.
Okay. Well, Viper, blacksmith, and goes for the farm upgrade. Enjoys his sheep having more food and takes a fight there. 2v1 scouts. Now gets away. Not too much killing happening.
Yeah, not really. I feel like the natural progression here is for Viper to add a stable over the next couple minutes. Because he needs an answer to skirmishers. Or he can get his archers forward and sneak and get damage in on Vinch before Vinch knows what's up. But Viper has the blacksmith now, and he's got the range. You'd expect fletching. See scouts in Viper's near future if Vinchester still plays open.
Isn't Viper open between the blacksmith and the woodline there? I think this could be pretty scary.
I think he is. Vinchester didn't notice that, though. I'm trying to look.
Huh.
I mean, I'm full zoom on that. That's definitely a hole. Also exposed towards the south, but the scouts really unable to do anything if the spearmen are around. Viper trying to kill that scout from Vinch. Where did his archers go? Didn't he have... Oh! Okay. Vinch might be a little alarmed by that, because Vinch just saw 1 archer, and there was no flag on the range. That doesn't add up. Sneaky from the Viper. I think what happened there was he didn't mean to send that 4th archer forward, but the gather point was there from when he had ejected these 3.
I think he had him there to fight off 1 scout that was chasing his scout.
Yeah, maybe. Very possible. Here comes Vinch. Very dangerous army. Viper Spearman out of position. But Viper's going to run right by, just passing. And Vinch doesn't see it. Oh, boy. Oh, this is going to hurt Vinch so much. He does react, but the wood line's back there. 1 villager down. It's going to be at least 2, you'd think. And, of course, all the idle time. This is
Oh.
painful.
Meanwhile, will Winchester be able to return the favor with all the damage here? Doesn't seem like it, at least not for now.
Viper will not have the scout numbers yet. The wise move from Viper is to run away from the woodline. I like that move. Because if he went in with 1 scout, he'd go in too early. 2 villagers have been killed by Viper, by the way. He's microing down the skirm. It's not any harder to kill Sicilian skirms. It's harder to use skirms against Sicilians. It's the perfect approach from Viper. So he will get another vill. And now there's nothing at the woodline anymore. Viper can just take his time.
Huh? And he's fine. Most of his eco is still working. Yeah, to move some villagers, but he just needs to wait for like 4 scouts and he's fine.
Yeah, that was a little sloppy from Vinch. Now, the one thing that's interesting here is that, well, as Vinch runs right through the town center and will lose everything now. Oof. Just going to say the only thing that's interesting is that Viper doesn't have as much on food. Vinch has plenty of food income. So Viper will probably have to use the market to have a competitive castle age. But still, now what does Winchester have against scouts and archers?
Not too much. Probably has to defend with some skirmishes here, but Viper in full control. 5 villages ahead, nice military lead. And Viper knows, okay, I don't have that much on food. Moves out to the deer.
Yep. Also has the farms. I think with that much on gold, he will probably market as well and buy food. It's sloppy at home for Viper, but it's certainly not as bad as Vinch. Vinch really just doesn't have the units. Scouts on the field means that Winchester's going to need some spearmen. And the way that it typically works is that the archers pick off the spears and the scouts pick off the skirms. But it's easier said than done.
Let's take a look. Only 2 spearmen around. Archers trying to dodge. Now a scout joining the party. But Viper, I think this looks good. He simply has the stronger army.
Yeah, he does. I would love to see him even making a little more in the way of scouts. Because only 2 scouts... It's a little risky. Not be able to kill the skirms with only 2. Full upgrades for Winchester. And Viper losing some archers here. And he's just going to send the scouts into Vinch's base. Which isn't bad because there's some weak villagers from earlier. And that could lead to a villager kill with the hill involved. Viper goes in. Winchester coming home with his full army.
Finds a villager kill regardless.
Yep. And, oh, he saw the weak one on the woodline. Went in for that. Viper with the market. Clicks up here. And Nilly, I kind of asked, after game number 4, is there a chance that maybe things get a little sloppier? I still feel like it has definitely... The quality of the play overall has gone down a little bit overall. But I think Winchester, man, he didn't scout like he scouted so well in all the other games for the Drush. And then he didn't see that army come in. And now Viper's going to be ultra sneaky with the other archers. Oh, man, Winchester's having some big problems.
Winchester's not even trying to chase this one down, is he? Is he trying to go for the counterattack? That feels so careless.
Well, he hasn't actually seen those archers in 2 minutes? Maybe a minute and a half? Because what he did was he pulled all of his skirms back when the scouts went in. And he completely lost the archers.
Okay. But still, you have to sit at home now.
I agree. Yeah, you never move out. But maybe after losing 5 bills, he feels the need to move out. Doesn't feel like it's going to make any sense, though, when the enemy can add a scout or 2, even if they're in feudal. He does have patrolling spearmen. He is also adding a donjon on his gold. So it seems like he, yeah, even with the house wall, we'll know that Viper's going to head this direction. Sneaky sneak from Viper to the other side. Winchester will miss this. And that will be good for Viper because he knows he can move out comfortably now without having to worry about the skirms.
Yeah, waits a bit longer. Probably waits for Botkin and Crossbow to click and then moves out. Has an easy defense with 2 knights at home. Oh, Viper is... He sees army in his face, but it's no threat at all.
Yep. Viper is going to come in near the mill in the front. Winchester will react to this. Will Winchester know the other army's coming in? Look at that. Good job from Vinch, man. Say what you want about the last 5 minutes, but that was good from him. Prepping the house wall and building the dungeon were 2 very important things, but it still means he's so far behind. Crossbows could still range some of this eco. The farms and the wood will be in jeopardy.
Oh god, and crossbows now from 2 angles can reach that wood line. He can only chop in the center. This is so ugly for Vinch.
And Vinch would need to wait for upgrades. Vinch would need to wait for units. He loses his 7th villager. He does bring all those skirms back now to kill one of Viper's armies. Could maybe kill both if Viper isn't careful. The Viper microing one of them and not the other one right now. So, okay, Winchester will get the military lead. And a little sloppy from the Snake, as I think he's going for the crazy boom here. 3rd TC going up for Viper.
Okay, gets the eco upgrades. And obviously with the extra sheep will be pretty fine for him. Actually, a crossbow survived at the left-hand side.
On the left-hand side. Oh, yep, and here come the Knights. Okay, if Viper keeps this crossbow alive and kills the skirms with the Knights, I'm going to lose it. Come on, Viper.
Well,
He should lose it. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
But you notice how we haven't really had that conversation of, oh my god, it's hard to counter Sicilians because of how Viper's played this. Right? He's going crossbow knight, and it's a Sicilian player going into trash units. Sicilians are not Byzantines. They don't have cheaper trash. They don't have any bonus where they do more damage with their trash units. So it's just not the spot you'd want to be in if you're Vinch. But unfortunately for him, he is here as he's going to add a TC on the left side. Very risky because Viper has the Knights there.
No, but Winchester can wall this one off. Has his army around as well, and TC will go up. But obviously some dead wood because he will delete those houses afterwards.
Yep. Viper got some good value from the Knights, though. Is getting an attack in, buying himself some time. And time is what he's needed here. I say needed. He hasn't really needed it. I mean, he's brought himself the time, but he could have done with less time. 58 vills for Viper. It very much reminds me of the Huns versus Berbers game, where Viper just falls back. He's going to go into Cav Archers, and he goes for the town centers, and he just invites the pressure.
Let's take a look at the attack now. I think its Siege Workshop could actually be something here for the Viper.
Well, he does need a counter to Skirm and Crossbow. He doesn't have the Cav Archers yet. So it's either Knights, or it's Siege, or you could just play musical chairs and you could just run to different woodlines, which is Viper's current choice.
Musical chairs?
Yeah, you ever played musical chairs?
I think I didn't know the name of it, but like where the music stops and you have to sit down?
Yeah, that's musical chairs. You guys call it?
Okay. Well, like traveling to Jerusalem is the German name, but yeah, I'm pretty sure there will be different names for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's a Siege Workshop for Viper, but Winchester's pushing in pretty far here. And it's worth the risk at this point because he needs to find damage. But Viper's TCs are just perfectly positioned. Vinch hasn't been able to kill much. Viper's Cav Archers move freely to the front. Vinch only on 2 TCs. And, oh, God, oh, no, he's on... God, he's on 3. I'm sorry. But he has recovered there.
This is a tricky phase of the game. And I'm a bit surprised that Vinch is going back. Maybe he feels okay, the counterattack needs to be answered. He's sitting on 3 TCs. Just still feels like Viper is in so much control.
Yep, he runs in, he forces a reaction from Vinch, and then he just runs away. It's so easy to do when you've got the CA, and it's so easy when you had such a good feudal age. I mean, he had a good dark age too, right? He stole the goats from Winchester, and then he also killed the Vil. And from there, it was just... Viper's just making the better decisions. I've actually had less questions over civilizations and just more questions over gameplay, which is how it should be. And Viper even getting relics right now. It honestly feels like this is not even Torny Viper right now. He's just like, rated game. Let's be greedy. Let's boom. Because I can do it. I'm that good.
Well, he also goes for Knights. He was around with some CA. He is going for Mangonels. He is getting... Kashyyyk next, most likely. And now, well, trying to find what his Mangonel is going to achieve. Winchester doesn't have the greatest counter.
Yeah, I mean, normally if you're not ahead in economy, you need to be ahead in military. And Winchester, unfortunately, is not ahead in economy or in military here. His army is so much more vulnerable. Not only to just the knights, but also the siege that's out there. Cav archers are better against siege than skirmishers and crossbows are. This could be forward castle territory for Viper. He doesn't need it. I think he'll probably opt for safe defensive castle with like 3 villagers or something Viper-esque. But yeah. Oh, are the vills coming? Ah,
Vills are coming, but I would have agreed. If your sentence finished 30 seconds earlier, I would have said, yeah, the typical Viper thing to do, but not this time at least.
So my thought is, against Sicilians, this is a potential to throw the game if you commit to a forward castle.
Agree. Yeah.
They can build their own castle so much faster. But he's still got so much army. Viper's thinking about it. He's going to repair his mangonel. Viper is going to place the castle. Vinch does see this. Here it goes. But I don't know if Vinch can even complete his.
720 stone went for the ground attack, but a bit late. Knights are moving in. I don't really see Winchester finishing this one.
Oh, and he might build castles faster with Sicilians, but he doesn't have the army, Nilly. So the forward castle from Viper was the perfect play. It denies the gold. It disrupts the economy. And from here, Viper can do anything. We could see the Keshiks, like you mentioned. Keshiks could be huge, and Vinchester's just toast here. That army's going to get wiped up. There's no way this army survives. He can only run for so long. Okay, never mind. He deleted the house.
Tries to avoid the Mango shot there, but doesn't really matter. And
yeah,
should we say it as a drop or?
Nope, just a GG.
Okay.
Just a GG. Vinchester has just been getting outclassed, and he got completely outclassed in this game by Viper, who was quick to the decision to go for the militia. He surprised Vinchester. In Feudal Age, he had the proper defense and counterattack. It was a perfect game. 3 archers killing 4 villagers, defending from the scouts and the skirms with the scouts, and then the boom and castle to the eventual castle drop. Can Viper be stopped by Vinchester at this point? Viper is 1 win away, and he needs 1 win out of the next 3 potential games. It's going to be so tricky for the Russian.
3 in a row, and we will have to take a good look at the civilizations then to figure out
I agree with you.
What could be options.
Viper's ability to go 3 TC was... There's been 2 games in this series where his ability to go 3 TC is because he's able to get to castle age so much faster without taking damage. The Hun game and the Tatar game. And he just steamrolls from there. There's no stopping him if he gets there.
Yeah. And the Huns game, he went to like 5 TCs or something. He's just such a macro beast, and every single time we see him dictating the game and playing his comfort zone, it just feels like we would need Illyria or Hera in their prime to really contest that.
Yeah, of course, Leary got stomped by Vinchester 4-1. And Hera also got stomped by Vinchester 3-2, if I recall.
Yeah.
Maybe 3-2 doesn't come off as quite a stomp, but Vinchester beat Yo, Hera, and Leary. Like, a lot of the names you'd bring up as to who could kill Viper, and he is here, and he hasn't been able to find an answer either. I still think back to the scouting for Vinch, because players have done such a good job scouting this series, and the 2 militia drush is so common. Getting surprised and losing a villager on very forward berries, I think, is a misplay. You've got to either have it walled in if you haven't scouted it, or you have to scout it.
It's like not walling in your berries just in 2021 feels so sloppy. You've seen so many players doing it over and over again, and especially with those open berries. Maybe he felt, okay, the timing is so early, it can only be 2 militia and I can fight it off. But as we saw, the Viper found the kill there, and also how long he took the fight against the first 2 militia felt wrong.
It looks like I made some mistakes here in my draft. Okay, so Vinchester has... he's got Ethiopians, Britons, Aztecs remaining. And Bohemians, excuse me. Viper has Chinese. He has Vietnamese, Saracens, and Khmer. I think Chinese is the one that stands out to me. That Civ is probably his best overall civilization there, but also Britons and Aztecs can give Chinese some problems. And really, any Civ that Viper has remaining some problems.
Yeah, Britons and Essex should be some pretty solid win potential games, and I think we need to see them. Latest next game.
Yeah.
And I think this game could make a lot of sense, and I already saw the civilizations. Winchester is going for his second pick, basically, the Britons. And the Viper will come up with the Khmer play. And Khmer Britons, we have seen that yesterday and today already.
Mm-hmm. And it's actually exciting to me if this game goes late, because I was very curious on how the game would have gone between Jordan and Viper if it would have been flip-flopped and you had Jordan with Britons and Viper with Khmer.
Yeah.
I think Viper would have won from Jordan's position with Khmer. Jordan wasn't able to finish off Viper as he was Britons, and now Viper gets to show us what he can do. But the key here for Vinch is a mass of archers. That's the key. Massive archers, big ball of crossbows. I know cheap TCs with Britons is also very strong, and I'm sure Vinchester will do that. But I feel like if you're falling back to town centers without archer numbers with Britons, just not building up towards anything exciting, and you'll have some problems.
Yeah. Well, unless you go wall of traps, but yeah, I can absolutely see that. And Winchester, we have seen him play fast imp quite a bit, and we have seen Leary play that one today as well. So could be an interesting strategy. The Viper, though, a person that could be good at making something happen in Castle Age to punish that.
Okay, if Vinchester ever needed a helpful map gen, this would be it. This is the most open map gen I think we've seen so far in the finals. But if you look at Vinch, he's got one back woodline, back berries, back gold. Viper's got two woodlines similar to Vinch, but they're both forward, and the berries and gold is forward. Tough for the Viper here.
Yeah, I actually like Winchester's map more. Yeah, it will be ugly when it comes to walling the front, but it simply has to be some buildings and a really small base, and everything has to be in the back, just like you predicted.
So we have Khmer, a civilization known for a strong scout rush. Okay, we have a very open map, probably the most open map we've seen in the finals. Will we see a scout opening here from Viper?
Well, we will see Rhino already taken here, plus 2 sheep. This is really bad for Winchester, who's already pushing some ostrich.
Oh no, this is huge. Like, you can recover if you lose a rhino. If you lose 400 food, you can recover. But if you lose 2 sheep and also the rhino, that's where you have some big problems. We have not seen a lot of heavy laming in the finals here, but Viper, maybe realizing how strong the Britons can be and how open the map is, runs forward, gets the lame, and Vinch is just running forward blind, hoping he's going to find this. I think he has to accept that he's not going to get it, Nilly. Maybe he'll get lucky and find his goats, or maybe he'll steal something back from Viper, but Viper with a great start to the game.
Viper had a weird pathing, though, there, trying to get to his CC. I think he is trying to buy himself more time so that the sheep finishes, and he can get to the rhino. Wow.
Now, let's see if Viper takes his other rhino, because there's an opportunity for Vinch to steal that. Vinch could commit to this. And Viper could try and just bring in the rhino now, or Viper will allow Vinch to take it.
Plus, still 35 HP on Viper, and he's sitting on that hill. Took the first hit here, and yeah, is getting away. I think just killing some HP from Winchester Scout is something that I've seen, for example, the Gao do there. Just trade off that you have 5 HP, your opponent has 20 HP, and then they won't go for the Rhino steal back.
Do you think, granted, I think you and I could have a whole conversation on if we want a laming allowed in our tourneys altogether. But with laming being a thing, right? Do you think that they need to make a change on how much damage a Rhino or Boar does against the Scout? Because Viper's got, what did he have, 35 HP. He only lost 10 HP and was able to steal 400 food.
You know the answer to the question, Tristan. I think it's horrible for competitive esports to have such a high variance thing. But yeah, I made a video about that one that was one of my best clicked YouTube videos ever, and the one with the highest downvote rate I've ever had. So I know that a lot of people are heavily disagreeing with me there, and to not start a fight. Yeah. Let's just keep it at that, and I at least believe that laming is way too easy and it's not punished enough.
Yeah, I would like to see the... I always say that maybe the board should be on the side of the back, which we did for Hidden Cup.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I think if I had my way, I think that scouts would receive more damage. There's no way you should have that much HP on a scout after sealing something that important.
Mm-hmm.
Scouts are both kind of weak here as they're engaging in the middle, and all Viper's trying to do is prevent Winchester from catching up on food. He's just trying to be annoying here.
Doesn't want to eat any more hits, though, and Winchester, yeah, even pushing into the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm. So, Nilly, do you want to hear interesting tidbit of information that I tested and learned the other day?
Oh, yes.
So, you know how the majority of players, the way they push deer or ostrich is they just click right in front of the animal, and then the animal runs forward, and then they repeat that?
Not really what they do, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, okay. You're probably going to say they use follow.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I'd say maybe half the player base uses follow, half the player base uses the click.
Mm-hmm.
And follow overrides the click. So if if I'm trying to stop you from pushing in an ostrich, and you click right in front of it, so the ostrich is about to listen to you because you commanded that first, and I use follow, the follow overrides the click way of doing it, which means that you can disrupt someone from pushing their deer a bit easier that way. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay. So both should just spam follow then?
Yeah, and I don't know what happens. I didn't test that. I assume it's just the first person to the party gets to push the deer in, but I saw Viper playing barrels or something, and I noticed that Viper was using follow, and he kept disrupting barrels, and barrels 3 or 4 times couldn't get his deer to move, and I went back and watched it, and that was the difference. So,
oh, nice. Okay.
Viper's gonna go scouts here, I think. Exciting times, and he's certainly got the food for it. So I'm happy to see this. As for Vinch, he just does not have food underneath his TC, and he is on the brink of losing the finals here. Viper needs 1 win of the next potential 3, and if Viper is able to do that, Viper will be the King of the Desert 4 champion. $20,000 to the winner, $10,000 to the second place player, which isn't too shabby.
3 rhino, 10 sheep against 1 rhino, 6 sheep, and we see both players opening with scouts.
How do we think this is gonna go, Nilly? Oh boy. I mean, not even that. It's also, as the farms expand with this type of a build, even more of an advantage to Viper because he doesn't have to drop off his food at his other buildings here. As he goes for a barracks now, interesting.
Yeah.
Of course, didn't have to make the barracks before the stable, but I didn't think that he was even necessary.
Yeah. I think that's what Viper kind of learned over the time now. That Khmer delayed barracks could make lots of sense for them. That village obviously will never die with a house next to it, so that's just wasting HP here for Winchester. At least that's what I would think. Viper tries to go for the wall. Go for the house? Oh, no.
No? Well, oh, now he runs to the house, yeah. I see what you're talking about. Wait, it died. Britain's OP with Scout Rush, Nilly. That's what we've learned so far this game. Anyways, continue.
Okay. Viper a bit on the sloppy side. The barracks a bit late. And now we see the villagers have to fight again. And I'm saying it again. We shouldn't see villager loss. But Winchester found one earlier.
Yeah, this is true. Good recovery from Vinchester. I mean, up against it from the early stages here. And if this turns into a game where he can make archers, you're always going to be liking his position, but what I don't like is that he's got 2 idols on his wood line. He only has 7 on wood. Hasn't corrected that for quite some time.
Oh.
And Viper also, I just, you got to think he's got more opportunities to do damage right now, as the Britain player cannot hop into houses. That is, of course, the case for Viper with his Khmer.
Berries running out in 100 food. The Viper still has endless amount of berries if he wanted to think about that one, but obviously going into heavy farming, his food economy is looking great, and Viper now scouts the villagers on gold. The question again is, will he stay on scouts or will he add some archers himself?
Archers feels like the natural switch for both if there's going to be a lot of spearmen out. I think the key here for Viper is he has to prevent Winchester from walling up this awesome map of his. Because with the direction Winchester's going with these houses, I could see Vinch. That's an interesting range placement. I actually would have made it to the right of the house, but I could see Vinch just walling in his gold and his wood. And Viper doesn't really have that option. His base is really open here.
Oh, yeah, the gold, especially there at the front. I wouldn't mind seeing a defensive tower at the goal, but we have not really seen the Viper commit to that too much. He will play it pretty similar to his Hans game, and will try to go for upgraded scouts as a defense.
Yeah, might go Bloodlines, which is why he has 2 on gold. Whoop! Quick wall, quick wall.
Give me a name of a Chinese Age of Empires player.
Whoop! Did you hear me say that the other day? Is that why you brought that up?
Yeah.
The sad thing, I was so proud of that comment, and only like 2 people laughed.
Oh, yeah. I was laughing so hard that I couldn't type.
Yeah? Well, thank you, Nilly.
On Facebook.
I saw you. It's funny. I saw you in chat, and I was like, I'm not sure if that's Nilly or if that's a Nilly imposter, but I determined later that you were watching my horrible post-imp gameplay.
That was... For an hour, it was enjoyable.
Until the 3rd hour, then I'm just like, I wanted to die. Forging and Bloodlines now. And Winchester also has quite a few scouts. It feels like Viper Spearmen need to all be together to engage against that. And Winchester, I think, very ambitious with the way he's trying to wall this. Could be a villager down and more. As Viper arrives to the gold. And will Viper engage? He'll have the hill here, Nilly. He could engage against 3 spears. And he does.
And Spearman dying heavily here. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. He has to pull the villagers away from gold. Meanwhile, those scouts are chilling on Winchester's side. Now taking the fight against the Spearman so poorly.
Oh, man, and he doesn't have upgrades. And he doesn't get access to Bloodlines. And he's off of gold. And he doesn't have many archers. And Viper's farming eco is insane. Only 1-to-1 with the eco KD. But look at the worker efficiency last minute. It's 58% for Vinch. As Viper gets another doink there on the farm. Perfect spot for Khmer as well, Nilly. They didn't have to switch into anything other than just their stable units. They can continue to spam those farms. Viper is in the perfect position to win the finals here.
Oh man, and it just feels so anticlimactic that in the last game of this tournament, potentially the lane was such a deciding factor here. Viper's playing it brilliantly after that, though.
Yeah. Still think Winchester has made some mistakes since then. But Viper has just... He takes advantages, and then he takes another advantage, and then he finishes you off, and that's where we're at right now. Viper's thinking about Castle Age. Gets to the hill, good upgrades, gets the hits before the spears arrive, runs away. Well done, Viper. Look at all those bodies there. Look at that. He didn't lose...
All purple.
Maybe he lost 1 scout.
Yeah, it's 4v1 trade or something. Really nice move. With the hill, Spearman not there.
Does maybe have to worry about the archers, but he's going to take the engagements. And he knows he needs to keep this army away from his base because he doesn't have skirms yet. He's on the way to Castle Age. Viper commits to that fight. Now ends up running away. Lost his scouts nearly, but also killed archers, so I think it's worth it.
Let's see. Probably second stable. Continues with the scout production. Not too many villagers on gold here. I need something. I think a defensive tower is needed. Goes for the house. Oh, that's so greedy.
Remember that game earlier where we said Vinch needs to go all in feudal? I think this is another one.
Oh, but
if he
Berbers...
goes spear, archer, and scout, he could just force it so Viper has all of his villagers inside of his houses. But that's a lot to ask.
The thing is, though, I think Khmer are better in going light cav than Huns that wanted to go Knights plus CA in that game.
I'm trying to do the math on this to see how many of these villagers can fit inside houses. At all, Viper even pulls the vills, attacks the spears, and goes back to work. That's cute. He stalled scout production, though, like, heavily. He's still on 5, and he doesn't have any in queue. What is this?
I'm surprised as well. I think he should just go full scouts. Light cav will clear this one up.
Did he... Oh, he's there. I'm surprised. Yeah, he will kill a villager. He will kill another villager, and oh man, it's just crazy. Vinch sends all the army forward, doesn't kill anything, and then Viper kills 2 vills just like that.
Oh, and villagers fighting against archers. That's not a thing! That's not how Age of Empires should work!
Khmer, man. And Viper was the Khmer OG, man. He played with Khmer before they were good. Before the farming bonus. He always toyed around with the Khmer. Has some awesome videos out there with that. And even before Lightcav comes in, the Viper will be able to clear this army. And Vinch is on the way to Castle Age, but Winchester will have no control. He's not even walled yet, Nilly. think we'll just get overrun by knights and scouts.
Feels like it. Well, Winchester will have a lot. What is that hidden barracks? He's pulling it out of the map.
Winchester.
And that could be
fair.
That could be trap spearmen. There's a 2-tile hole at the right side of the barracks.
Yeah. I mean, Nilly, to be fair, the first archer range and blacksmith placement was also really weird. The second archer range is in the back of his base. He's got gaps everywhere. He didn't even really try and string any walls together. So I think, like, I called it after the Byzantine-Japanese game. Winchester just has really dropped off a little bit since then. Maybe, you know, the pressure, maybe exhaustion. To be fair, Viper's never let him breathe in any of the games since.
That's what I wanted to say. Or maybe it's just facing the best Age of Empires player we have ever seen.
Viper just off the back of winning the first Age of Empires 4 tourney. And everyone's like, oh my god, if you're spending time playing other games, how are you going to perform? And to be fair, maybe there's some players you could say did underperform in this tourney because of their time on Age of Empires 4. But now Viper's here and just like doing dances around Vinchester, who killed Leary, who killed Yo, and who killed Hera. Like, it's the easiest game of his life. This is crazy.
But still remember, Viper could have easily lost in the round of 32.
Yeah, that's true. I think that woke him up a bit when he almost lost to Say My Name.
He was down 2-1, right?
He was down 2-1 against Say My Name, yes.
And a shaky game 5. Or an intense game 5.
Yep. That would have been one of the biggest upset of, like, the last 5 years, honestly. Like, we're losing in the round of 64.
Yeah.
Woo. Almost happened. Ever since then, he's looked unbeatable. But Vinchester's still alive in this game. Not in a great spot, but Viper also hasn't gone hugely offensive. I'm still disappointed Viper didn't make more scouts while he was on the way to Feudal. Because I think if he did that, he would have still a solid amount of food. But he'd have had light cav with a bit more pressure on Vinchester.
Also, that's true. In the Genesis tournament, in the round of 256 or something, he was basically dead as well and had a 50-minute game against Symptom. The Age of Empires 4 tournament.
Viper is like right when the tournament starts.
Yeah, probably.
You just have to be, so basically you have to be way worse than Viper and then you have a chance.
Exactly
That's how
that.
seeding tends to work. Maybe I can do it someday. God, scouts killing villagers on this TC for Vinch. He does take out a Scorpion, but he's got no control here. Commerce Scorpion's so strong. They've got 8 range, so they have the same range as these crossbows.
Very nice. Ooh, those crossbows are clumped up. And we have an 11 villager lead, but the Viper was relatively late with dropping his TCs. Second and third one flying in, though.
Yes, it's true. Also, good micro from Viper. A good micro from Vinch to finish off the Scorpions. Viper took out the stable, so Vinch couldn't make any knights, but Vinch says, I don't need knights. Just use my crossbows. Who cares about that? The army count tells me Vinchester has a chance here. Especially because Viper's just tossed away a few Scorpions. No repair villager. And no real mass of knights. He kind of dropped his game plan of trying to use mobility once he lost those 2 scouts and just tried to force the issue. But 31 military for Vinch. With Britain. This is doable for Vinchester.
But army value is going to be nice for the Viper. He goes for Elephant Scorpion.
Elephant Scorpion? I mean, it's just so expensive, Nilly. He does have 3 TCs as well. This is where Vinch has to win. He has to take good engagements now. If he takes a poor engagement and then hopes for a good
Spearman out of
engagement,
position. They might run into the Scorpions. Oh no. Oh no.
Rip. And now the crossbows are going to run into another Scorpion. This is so bad for Vinch. Viper's just going to have so many villagers. And so many elephants at this rate. Well, Nilly, the elephants run in right to Vinchester's eco. Viper also has knights in the back of Vinch's eco. That could be the killer blow.
Oh, man.
I was wondering where those knights went. The army from Vinch done no damage offensively. Vinch's economy is destroyed.
Over 20 villager lead. I think Vinch is trying to make something happen with that last army. Will find some villager kills himself. Most of the pikemen will die though, but basically losing his starting TC.
Yeah. I'm starting TC, and Winchester, who made it here against all odds. He was the underdog against many of the big names he beat, as he was here today. He says, GG, congrats, and Viper, man, he deserves it. He deserves it. I went into today thinking there's no world in which Viper loses, and he proved that, Nilly. He's better in all situations of the game, whether it's micro, macro, or understanding awkward Civ matchups. We had comebacks from Viper, but also, shout out to Vinchester, because Vinchester proved us all wrong and made it here, and I think he was probably a worthy opponent for Viper in the finals.
Absolutely. Great performance. Honestly, super entertaining games as well. And yeah, I think Winchester against Viper was more entertaining than the Jordan against Viper set. So I'm super happy that this was our grand final.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was also more entertaining than the Vinchester versus Leary set, because Vinchester smacked Leary and then Viper smacked Jordan. I think for Vinchester, he's still got to be so pleased with himself, right? Like, even making it to the semis and losing, I think he would have been pleased, because that was his biggest achievement ever, to get that deep into a big Age of Empires 2 event. But after 5 or 6 years of just hammering away, 2021 has been his year. He performed really well to get into Hidden Cups, performed well in Red Bull Wallows. There's a few other events that he did well in too. And then making it to the finals against Viper and getting 2 wins off him is not too bad for him. So he, in my eyes, is clearly in the top 10 right now, Nilly, which I might not have said at the tail end of 2019.
Yeah, well, he went into this tournament as seed number 10. So relatively fitting, and could make a good argument here to put him into the top 8 even.
I mean, he did beat 3 players who many have in their top 5. Just saying. He beat Hera, he beat Yo, and he beat Leary. And they lost to Viper. So we won't jump to any conclusions on that. But I'm happy for Vinchester. I'm also very happy to see Viper back on top. He deserved it. Neely, thanks for casting. I think we're going to hop in and both try and listen to the interview.
Exactly.
And then maybe we could touch base after that, and then we can call it a day.
Sounds great to me.
Big win for you, King of the Desert 4. You are the champion. Well done, mate. It must be a great feeling.
Of course, I mean, that goes without saying. Winchester put up an amazing fight today. There's some really cool strategies and approaches with civs that other people don't really do. So very impressive how he approaches things. And it was really hard for me to react and adapt accordingly. But yeah, obviously, very happy.
He really challenged you, and he's played so well. I mean, I think we can all take a second to congratulate Vinch on the performance he's put together. Let's talk about some of the games you've just played, Viper. I want to ask in particular about game number 4. Just colossal pressure came across the map towards you throughout that entire game. How do you deal with it? What do you do to prevail under such enormous pressure? You know, when other players would throw these games away under the amount of pressure that's put on, you somehow pull through. What's the secret?
I'm guessing we're talking about Lithuania's Incas. So, I don't know. I felt like he was in a very good spot, but I still felt like if I could get some gunpowder out, I could potentially pull it back. But yeah, I mean, it's just like in those situations, if you make one crucial mistake or even like small errors, you're just dead. So you have to, decision making has to be like spot on if something like that happens. And I think I made the correct decisions. I think he was maybe a little bit sloppy with some of his units. Also, the fact I sniped 4 monks with my, or 3 or 4 monks with my bomber cannons, which could have been potential game turner for him. So yeah, just all these small things slowly added up for me. But it was a very tough game.
The Blink 182 approach, all the small things. Ma'am, you've got anything here?
I mean, that game was insane in my opinion. The Lithuanians game, and also when the cities are that close, Viper, those kind of moments that it look like you are completely corner, you snipe all the monks. Small details like this can change the series as a whole.
I mean, it depends on the mindset or mentality of people, right? Some people might get more flustered by things happening in games than others. But I feel like Winchester is a guy with a very strong mentality. So I don't think, maybe it was disappointing that he lost that game, but I don't think it like bothered him for the rest of the series.
Okay.
Viper, want to... Oh, go ahead, man, sorry.
I wanted to
One
say...
at a time.
Yeah, I wanted. Sorry, Viper. Sorry, my
okay.
friend. I wanted to say, such a troller, that you should see Winchester reaction after losing that game, and maybe you will change your mind. His
Okay.
reaction in the camera, because he felt that he had that game with Incas, because actually his position was insane.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, go, Mr. Riley.
Well, maybe I just wanted to zoom out a little bit and talk about the tournament more in general. We've seen a couple of things develop throughout this tournament, particularly the two militia rush, which has become sort of very fashionable throughout King of the Desert 4. What are your thoughts on this? What's the best way, I guess, to implement it and also to defend against it?
So I knew Vinchester was very fond of that opening. I asked my teammates as well today, like what they think are the best ways to deal with that, just to counter it by doing the same or how to react. And I got a different answer pretty much from everyone. So it was it's definitely a very new thing still. But in the end, it's a wicked rush that kind of accomplishes the same. But yeah, I think it's a nice approach to just buy a little bit of time and get some like presence on his side of the map while you transition to feudalize yourself.
Anything else?
Well, I just wanted to ask you as a whole, like maybe I'm going too far. I just wanted to congratulate you. I really think that, I don't know what you think. Today, I don't remember a mistake at all or a big mistake by your gameplay. Like, you almost didn't get a hole or a bad decision. When you lost it because your opponent played a little bit better in that game. So I don't know if you feel that this can be one of your sharper gameplays in ever, because I got that feeling, to be honest.
I would say there definitely were a couple of mistakes in there. I think the way I played yesterday against Jordan was like more flawless in terms of execution compared to today. But I think my decision making today as well was kind of spot on. So yeah, I'm very happy with my performance overall. But I mean, at the same time, it's somewhat some of this is lucky as well. Sometimes you pick a good Civ matchup by chance, right? So it is a little bit of fortunate circumstances now and then as well. And then also some Civs shine on different maps, like Burgundians, for example. If you get a really good map, then they are great. If you get a bad map, they're not that great. So it's like a little bit of luck involved as well here. But in the end, yeah, I'm obviously super happy with winning.
Well, as you should be, Viper. Congratulations. The sweeping arid sands of Arabia are yours, my friends. As you've dominated this tournament from go to woe. You are the king of the desert. Congratulations, the Viper.
Wait,
Thank you.
Viper.
Say my
Wait.
name might have a say in there.
But don't go away, because we have a small present for you, Viper. It's just a small present. You have to check in the video, and then Mr. Riley, you can check and give him the crown, because when you have the stream, you have the stream open, Viper?
I do have the stream open, of course, man. I'm a professional.
I know you, but Viper, you have the stream open, right?
Yes. Only
Okay.
way I can see you guys. So
Yeah, 25 years old, remember. Okay, small gift to you. Okay, the Viper, the crown also, Riley, you can see there.
Here it is here for you, my friend. I'll express post it over to Norway for you, mate. All yours. Don't even worry about it.
Germany.
Viper, it's not the same that in a LAN party, but I will give you one the next time we meet. Promise?
I assume that one has been ready for a couple of weeks already, right? That video.
No. Okay, I know what
No,
you're doing here.
okay,
I know what
okay.
you're doing here. Okay,
was
Viper,
drawn
you got me.
During
You
the
got
interview,
me.
mate.
You got me. We did today. We were rushing, but that was the difficult. We have the just in case. Just in case if you get it, Viper. Like Riley said, congratulations and happy for you, man. Take care.
Thank you very much, and thanks for the tournament. It's been a blast. I had a really good time. So, thank you to everyone involved there as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Viper. Take care, man.
See you guys.